Lightweighting means reducing mass and consolidating parts. No one tackles these design and tooling challenges better than Three-Dimensional Services. We'll provide flexible tooling solutions, including integrating parts, reducing design complexity, or even design changes. We're the go-to source for rapid manufacturing and low-volume production. Trust Three-Dimensional Services to develop the most efficient approach to meet your lightweighting challenges today. Three-Dimensional Services. Prototype, production, proven.
How good is this? Look at this view from Losowski.
It brings all my fans, it brings the audience into the car with me.
Speed turn, 140 mile an hour entry speeds.
The quickest and most efficient way for me to get information to my drivers is from using the V-Box HD2 system.
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim, to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
Welcome to the Speed Tour from Mid-Ohio. It's the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, and I'm here once again with Adam Andretti, the perfect man to talk to because he has raced wheel to wheel with the guys behind us who are about to go into battle. Adam, we've had an interesting year, although a dominant year from City Racing. That often leads, like Formula One and Max Verstappen, to a boring season, you could argue. Not, though, if you're the leaders. But this weekend, City Racing, who've dominated everything, have got some competition.
Absolutely. You know, Justin Marks is fresh off an anniversary visit in Spain, so happy anniversary and congratulations to that happy, beautiful couple. But also you got Boris Said. You know, he's up here from the front row with Justin Marks. Boris is always here to upset the show, and him and the Pancho Weaver Dodge usually follow through on that promise.
The other thing for City Racing, usually we're expecting them 1 or 2. Brabham has been fast, and so has obviously Chris Dyson. But Brabham's got some work to do. He's not at the front, not at the sharp end this time.
No, they're going to give us a show from the back of the field, right? They had a few minor issues in qualifying, all got sorted perfectly for today. And we got a dry racetrack. You know, I'm actually squinting, and this is a good sign because we haven't been able to do that for the last 24 hours here, Jonathan Green.
What do you think? What's going to happen?
I think we're going to see a heck of a battle up front here right off the bat. You know, Boris doesn't leave anything on the table. There's a lot of torque inside that Dodge, so we're going to see a good drive down the back straightaway into that first right. And if Boris can hang on the outside, he's got the inside turn at the top of the hill there. So I think it's the place to be for the start of the race is going to be sitting on that hill.
The other man, of course, is Justin Marks. He's already been a winner, but it's been an up-and-down season for the man who owns the Trackhouse NASCAR team. In fact, he's going to race in NASCAR and Xfinity himself around the streets of Chicago. So he's a busy, busy man, but he is the fastest man here at Mid-Ohio. And after the break, Ben Sissel will talk to our Motel Pole winner. Join us after this.
You're so good with this last-minute stuff.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the Fan Walk, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Lots of fun here. I don't see our driver there on pole, so we're going to start with this gentleman here, P2, number 2. And it was a crazy qualifying yesterday for Boris Said, because he came to the grid with slicks on, and it was wet. So he had to come right off. Look at this. He's just going to sit down and wait for me to come to him, just relaxing, chilling here. So Boris Said, great qualifying yesterday. This has got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I mean, yesterday we tried to I watched the Formula One race last week when Alex Albon was the only guy with slicks and he was pretty fast. So we tried to go out on slicks yesterday, but it was just too wet. So Pancho Weaver builds a great car, Horseshoe Motorsports, a house. And most of all, John Cloud, he's celebrating his 30 years in racing this weekend with Ultimate Headers, and he's on our car. So it feels it's an honor to represent him.
Nice. I love seeing John Cloud here. Come here, Pancho. Look at this. The Ultimate Headers. John Cloud, longtime racer with us in SVRA and Trans Am. So is his wife, Debbie. But they have their compound over here, and he's got a great business out of, I think, Medina, Ohio. But the Ultimate Headers, and you were with us last weekend, did really well with Paul Menard, got this thing on the podium, and then here you are again the next weekend.
Two of the best drivers in the world, right? Paul Menard and Boris Said. Great group of guys we've got. It's a small group, as you know. Over the years, you've been hounding us plenty of times, and been even over at the shop, haven't you? So we've got a great friend of mine, Householder Motorsports. They're a trophy truck team. They won King of the Hammers this year, and he's supported us this weekend as well, and last weekend. So great fun, great family. This is really, racing's like your second family, right? I mean, you know more people probably here than you know in your own family, right? And so we appreciate all the fan effort. Dodge rules, right? Dodge rules, and we're up here to battle the Mustangs and the Camaros, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see.
Nice. And something we need to point out also, the beauty of Trans Am, the big three are up here in 1, 2, 3. We've got the Chevy Camaro, the Mopar Dodge Challenger here, and then the Ford Mustang back there of Dyson. But let's come on over here, because our Motul Pole Award winner is Justin Marks, and I'm hoping to have Justin Marks here, but I don't even know which one. But one of these 3 stickers was Justin Marks' Motul Pole Award. And if you know anything about Justin Marks, I don't know what it is about Mid-Ohio in the rain just a few years ago in the NASCAR race. It was a terrible downpour here, and he came in first. So there's something about this track that he likes, so watch out for Justin Marks in the Trackhouse car. We're hoping to see him and talk to him soon. I see his crew are radioing, but I did see Chris Dyson. So there he is. Yeah, see, Chris Dyson's at the fan walk, signing autographs like he should be. You guys keep on coming in, get some autographs from Chris while I'm talking to him. Chris, you keep signing. How cool is it to be back here at Mid-Ohio? We've got a huge fan walk, lots of fans, even with the questionable weather. These fans just love this place.
It's hard not to love this place, Ben. This is one of the classic road racing tracks in America, and Trans Am's got a great history here, and you see a lot of great past winners here, past champions. It's wonderful to be here every year. So happy to be back and have 2 Jim Weed cars on the grid. We've got a decent starting spot. I think it's going to be dry. I've had a lot of success here, and I'm hoping to add to it today.
Nice. He has had quite a bit of success here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course as Chris Dyson. Like we said, a Ford, a Chevy, and a Dodge, 1, 2, 3. But this car here we've got to talk about. I don't see the driver, but Will Rogers is up here in an XGT car, this beautiful Chris Evans car that we've seen out west. We saw Will at Sonoma and WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. This car is very fast. And Will Rogers is a great driver, so look for him to possibly jump up and mix it up in this TA group in this beautiful car. Then Tommy Dreesy, where's Tom? Oh, here's Tommy with Matt Brabham. So we're going to talk to both of them. We had some fun last night at Tommy's expense a little bit, but here's Tommy, Matt Brabham. Look at already talking to the officials. What's going on, Tommy?
Yeah, we're just talking about the start procedure. Even though we're not on the front row right now, I know Matty had a little problem yesterday, so he's starting a little bit behind us, but we'll wait for him not.
So Matt Brabham, as I come around, happened to start near the end. Not catastrophic failure, but nearly in qualifying. So you're starting at the back, just wanting to make things exciting?
Yeah, we wanted to make it more fun today, put on a bit of a show. But no, we were just discussing. It's you're not allowed to pass until you get to the start-finish line. We're doing the start on the back straight. So I was like, where is the start finish line on Backstreet? I haven't thought about it, but yeah, no, we're figuring it. We were trying to figure it out between ourselves, and obviously Tommy and I are probably not the best duo to do that. So we're gonna have fun.
You want to ask Dreesy for advice? Look at him smiling over there. But just so you know, drivers left coming out of the keyhole, probably about 500-600 yards on the left, right at that little kink. Drivers left to the starter stand. So that's your starting line.
Okay.
Is that cool? Thanks, just trying to offer some advice. Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to be an official, right? Yeah. I'm not giving you bad advice. Then we've got Lee Saunders over here in SGT. Lee Saunders in this Dodge Viper. He's signing autographs with the cool shirt. And then we got to talk to David Penterick. David Penterick calls Mid-Ohio his home track. He's doing really well. Captain America, welcome home.
It's good to be here.
Now, you're a little disappointed with your qualifying efforts yesterday, so how are you going to move your way up to the front?
Well, let me correct you on that. I'm not disappointed. I'm mad as hell. We're just going to go drive like hell. Yeah. Somebody once told me, don't overthink it, just drive the car. Now, there was an expletive between drive and car, but you get the point. You just got to put your head down.
Nice. And thanks for keeping it PG. David Penterick. So watch out for Penterick out there. We're going to move our way up to the front of the grid. But how cool. Look at this. We got a Peterson Racing fan right here. I love it. Check that out. Very nice. You having fun here?
Yes.
Nice. And then I guess who are you rooting for in tomorrow's race?
NASA.
Yeah. Say
Rafa.
Or anybody in three-dimensional, right? I love it. Nice job. See, I love coming to Mid-Ohio. This is SVRA has been coming here since 1982 consecutively. So we have a ton of fans that just set their calendar to this event and absolutely love coming here. This is a great spectator area. Look at these dudes right here. You guys having fun? Yeah. Even with a Bengals hat. I love it. So Justin Marks suiting up, getting in there. But what is it about Mid-Ohio in the rain that you're just so good?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this is a place I've been coming to for a long time. I mean, my first race here was in 2001. So, just always enjoyed it. And, I've got the rain line figured out, but it doesn't matter today. So I got Boris yelling at me, trying to psych me out. No, but we got dry track today, so it doesn't matter. We just, for me, I have no practice in this car in the dry, so my first lap in the race is going to be my first lap on the dry track. So I'm going to have to find my break points and hope we got a good setup under it. So we'll see.
And try to keep Boris Said behind you.
Yeah, try to keep that goofy-looking guy. Okay, he's got a plan. We'll see.
You hear Boris over there saying, I'm going to hold them off at all costs. So I guess we're having a little team strategy going here. Justin, good luck out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, with Road Race Ministries, Bill Knox, if you will remove your hats, and Bill Knox, if you'll take it away and deliver us the invocation, sir.
If you'll join me in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day and this great facility where we get to do what we love. Father, we ask for your guidance, your wisdom, your protection upon all the drivers, the crews, the spectators, the officials. Father, keep them all smart, keep them all safe. Father, we ask again for your hand of protection upon our safety workers, our men in blue, and our armed forces, wherever they would be throughout the world. Bring them home safely. In your Son's most precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bill Knox. All right, Natalie Cottrell to sing us the national anthem. I've heard a lot about you. I think you're going to be joining us again tomorrow, so that's awesome. Take the mic. Take it away, Natalie.
Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs burst bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Natalie Cottrell, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. I can't wait for tomorrow now. Thank you, Natalie. Unbelievable. Well, Jonathan, we're going to catch our breath down here. I'll send it to you to walk us through this illustrious grid.
Illustrious being the word. There you see a lovely shot from our drone giving you the full extent of our TA grid. But let's take a look at it. Justin Marks in pole position for Trackhouse. Boris Said, two great names of racing from America, all on the front row. And then the man, Chris Dyson, our current champion, and Will Rogers, one of his best qualifying for Chris Evans race cars and design on row 2. Tommy Dreesy and Lee Saunders line up on row 3. Then Kerry Hitt, great to have him back. David Pintarik alongside him on row 4. And then on row 5, it's Billy Griffin and Chris Coffey. Remember, we've got 4 different classes: TA, XGT, SGT, and GT. Cary Grant has won 1 race of his 34. He lines up on row 6. Amy Ruman, local race for her. She's got a new sponsorship in Valley Automotive. Danny Lowry, Milton Grant, Chris Evans, and Matt Brabham. Now, Matt Brabham's the one we're obviously watching, the number 20 Jim Weed Ford Mustang, because he's going to try to come all the way through, and he certainly has the speed to do it. It's just the weather yesterday that stopped him from getting a flying lap in. Wally Dollenbach, great to have him. Talking of great champions from Trans Am. Jack Rinke on his way up for the Chevrolet Performance Turnkey Motorsports team. Ricky Sanders and Michael Attaway. He is in GT and Ricky is in SGT. So we'll have battles throughout. Todd Naporowski had hoped to be on the grid and did qualify on the 11th row for the Chevrolet Performance SKF Turnkey Motorsport team, but I'm not sure that Todd's going to make the grid. He had it was a front straight crash in the wet yesterday, and it really wasn't that big a crash, but I was told last night that he may not make it to the grid, so we'll keep an eye on that. Alongside me, as always, Adam Andretti, and as I mentioned in the opener, Adam, the perfect guy to talk to, because he's been wheel to wheel. He was wheel to wheel with this man, Chris Dyson, last weekend. You know, there's 1 point between Chris Dyson and Brabham. Brabham the coming man, Dyson the champion. How do they play it?
That's a tough one, right? You got 2 formidable competitors inside the same camp that have a lot of speed. So, it's a strategy game out here, and I'm sure we're going to see some of that play out. Chris want to win these races. He's got to win these races, and he's in the best position right now. Matthew's got a lot of work cut out ahead of him. As you said, the weather has not been kind to us until today. We have beautiful weather today, and the track's got the most grip that I've ever felt here at Mid-Ohio. I just got out of the TA2 car in our practice session, and that's what I was letting these guys know, that you're not going to be a little surprised with how much grip is out there, actually. So, yeah, it's going to be a heck of a battle. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Matthew coming through the back, but also, my so-called teammate, Wally Dollenbach Jr.
Yeah.
And our colleague, right? He's back there as well, because they don't come out every week, and there was they didn't have rain tires, enough wheels to mount rain tires on yesterday to get a qualifying lap in. So Wally's going to be back there in the Ultimate Headers 4 Mustang in that TA Historic, and I would see him pumping through this field as well. He loves Mid-Ohio. He's a great competitor as well. And then the GT class is getting thick and heavy, as we saw in Indianapolis last week. Really, really good battles absolutely throughout the field. So super excited to see what goes on in this GT field today as well.
All right, so we are ready. Thank you, Adam. We'll be hearing from Adam throughout this race, and we're really looking forward to what should be a great show here at Mid-Ohio as you tune in around the world. We also welcome our viewers on MAV TV live here throughout the United States. Welcome, one and all, to Trans Am here from Mid-Ohio, one of the classic circuits that opened in the late 60s. It's in a rather rural area, about an hour north of Columbus, and yet this track has become iconic in America. Why is that, do you think, Adam?
Well, first of all, the fans. You can always go to the fans. The fans love this place. It's a great place to come watch a race. There's great viewership from the hills that you could sit on and the action around the track as well. This is a true driver's track. It's so technical that, you know, you can actually pick up on the little mistakes that are being made just by watching from the outside. And that's not something you get at every racetrack. You're close up to the action here. It's one of my favorite places to come. I've been coming here since since Jim Truman, you know, owned the place back in the 80s and passed it off to his daughter Michelle, and now owned by Green Savory Promotions. So this is, every time it changes hands, it still keeps the same beautiful mystique that is Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and every one of us drivers loves to be here.
Thank you, Adam. Let's head down to Ben for that famous words of racing.
All right, thank you. It's my honor to be here. Friends of my friend, Doug Peterson, with Three Dimensional Services Group, Doug and Barb Sellers, to deliver the most famous words in motorsports. But do you guys, you're longtime friends with Doug Peterson, but do you claim that publicly?
Oh, this is a tough question to ask on TV.
Yes, we do.
All right, well, I guess that's a pretty good answer. That's probably how I would answer that question, too. But take it away, deliver the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines.
Adam Andretti, tell me you don't feel just a tiny little butterfly in your stomach when you hear both those words and that engine roar into action.
It's my favorite point of anticipation of a race, obviously. I love the history that's tied to that phrase. You know, starts where I was born and raised at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And the fact that it's carried over into every form of motorsport, it's just been the iconic, you know, way to get our adrenaline pumping, get us ready for what's about to come. And that Brian and Deb Sellers out there, Doug and Deb Sellers out there, that's Brian Sellers' parents. So it's cool that they're out here supporting the Trans Am Series. They're great support of their son, Brian Sellers, you may know of, sports car race fans in IMSA, and Boris said giving us the big thumbs up. He's always ready to go.
You know, I mean, raced at Le Mans. He's a class winner in the Rolex 24 hours multiple times. He's a class winner at the 12 hours. He's won the 24 hours of the Nürburgring, Boris said. Looking at this grid, when you add Wally Dollenbach Jr. to it, and the Dollenbach name in Trans Am, I mean, this is like a walking history of motorsport. And I mean, you may know the name Roger Penske as the owner of Indy and the guy who won the Indy 500 and the Charlotte 600, but we know him also back in the day when he started out as the guy that was holding on to javelins and providing them for Mark Donohue here at Mid-Ohio back in the late 60s. That's the history of both Trans Am and American racing.
And that's what I love to brag about on our series. This is the oldest road racing series in America, longest running consecutive. So, you know, from 1966 up until our present day, you know, the Trans Am and the people of Trans Am have kept this sport alive and thriving, and it's the stars of the sport are also, you know, the way once you're inside this paddock, you fall in love. It's a great group of people. The competitiveness is second to none. And the stars, the absolute superstars that this series has produced throughout the history of motorsports is second to none as far as series go.
We'll be on board with the Trackhouse number 99 of Justin Marks in pole position. And what a season it's turning out for him to be. He's just announced that he'll be running in Xfinity. Remember, he runs a NASCAR team. He wants Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain. At the moment, he's a busy guy because he's racing himself, he's winning himself, and he's got a chance this weekend of actually taking it to Chris Dyson. But before we get to Mid-Ohio, I want to go back a week because we had a very famous front row last weekend too, as Adam Andretti and Matthew Brabham lined up in Indianapolis. So briefly, tell me what happened there before we get to the action there, because we didn't see it here on the live stream.
You know, we had an awesome competitive race, and Unfortunately, there was some debris on the track, and we went green a little early after a caution, quite honestly, and because the green flag was out, debris flag was out in turn 1, and I didn't see it. We were the first two to it, Matthew and I, and Matthew saw it, and you're kind of blinded by the car in front of you. I got it with the left front, and it was a super slow leak that ended our day pretty late, but it was a 1-2 finish for CD Racing again, and with Matthew Brabham taking it home, in Indianapolis, which was so cool for him, and Paul Menard with the podium finish there, and I think that might have been his best finish since he won the Brickyard 400 in the Cup Series. So it's again, this series is what attracts the personalities, it attracts the drivers, and I love driving in it. The top liner Chevrolet Camaro I was behind the wheel of with Burton Racing was just a top-notch prepared race car, and I can't thank those boys enough, and what they brought me, it was spectacular, and I look forward to hopefully doing a lot more in the future with them as we really hit it off as a group. I mean, I got 2 flying laps in the car before we went and raced, and it was the one in practice put us P3, just a couple tenths off of the CD Racing cars, and then qualified second, as you said, and we had a beautiful front row, and Matthew and I are close, dear friends, and to start a front row in Indianapolis and get those butterflies down to the Art of Bricks on Father's Day, him and I both having such close relationships with our fathers, it was super, super special for sure.
Thanks, Adam. And yeah, as you can see, we'll be on board with the Jim Wee Chris Dyson number 16 car. And interestingly enough, you just saw the winners there in that graphic. Brabham last time a winner, and of course Chris Dyson a winner here. Ernie Francis Jr. now in Formula Next in Indy Lights was a 3-time winner here, a multiple winner here. But there's your championship. And I mentioned that 1 point between the two. That's what makes this so interesting. But Justin Marks in 6th position, 281. Big race for him. He's not worried about the championship. He just loves to win. He's already been a winner, and he's had some bad luck when he was in a position to win at NOLA. So we'll be keeping an eye. We'll also be on the Chris Evans Incorporated Will Rogers car in the number 32. He, of course, in the XGT class. So when you see the onboards, keep an eye on this dash, this graphic dash. Shows you both the track map, where they are on the track, the speed, the G-force they're under, the revs they're dealing with, and also what class they're racing in, because as we've mentioned, there are 4 different classes. Tommy Dreesy, I believe yes he is. He's back in the Ford Mustang. He crashed heavily at Lime Rock, just by the bridge there, in the middle of the race there. He raced last weekend in a Camaro, and now he's back to his old Ford Mustang. So I don't, no harm, no foul. Tommy could drive either. You've driven every mark and won in every mark. So how different are they?
Well, they all have their strengths, right? And that's a beautiful thing about, the Trans Am Series. Is that's what the technical department does such a great job at, is making sure that everything is balanced out there. And they listen to us competitors when it comes to that, and they make the necessary adjustments. And, yeah, you talk about it. We're on board with Justin Marks, and he loves to win, and he's also a winning machine. I mean, and the guy, and believe you me, that stuff doesn't come by accident. He works super, super hard at this. He studies a lot. He focuses. He has incredible depth of knowledge, and his attention to detail is second to none. That's why, with his young NASCAR team in the Cup Series, is as successful as it is. And they have really taken that world by storm, and he's taken this Trans Am Series by storm.
Now, Adam, this is an interesting track, because if the viewers out there are wondering why we aren't underway, it's because we actually start the race at the back of the circuit, down the back straight at the kink at turn 3, effectively. One is because for safety, basically, there's a very tight first corner. But does that add a little bit more nuance to this race, that you come out of the keyhole and you're basically starting on a very long straight?
It does. It absolutely does. And this turn 4 that we're going into, which will be turn 1 for the start, it is so wide and there's so much grip down there on both sides that you can really run side by side through this. So this is going to be a fun start here, Jonathan Green.
Here we go then. Justin Marks leads them away. Boris said, the mighty Boris is alongside him. Dreesy gets away well. Watch out for the CD Racing cars. Brabham looking for a big start as they dive into 4. Boris on the outside will try to use the camber, and does, because he's got the inside line for 5. Boris said leads by a nose. But here comes Justin Marks back on him as we are away. A nice clean start. Everybody gets away cleanly and fighting all the way through. And I think Boris may well still have the lead. Not sure 100%.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And actually, I was really impressed that Justin hung it on there. Oh, he's all sideways there, big time. But yeah, I was really impressed how Justin hung on to the outside in turn 5 at the top of the hill around Boris. Usually that's a total gimme. And so this is going to be a really good event here already, because Boris does not relinquish that top spot easily.
Boris showing all his track knowledge. That cambered turn 4, if you're willing to dare to go high and wide on the outside, it's not the race line, but it puts you, if you can keep the grip, and there is no marbles out there, if you can keep the grip out there, it gives you the inside line, and that is how he effectively got the whole shot through the first 2 corners. And now look at him building in the Poncho Weaver prepared Challenger, and here comes the Jim Weed, number 16 of Chris Dyson, all over Marks. Marks was sideways. Was that cold tires, do you think?
Marks looks like he's got really little to no rear grip, and I don't know if it's cold tires or if it's somewhat of a setup that they went with. Like he said, remember what he said to us. He has no idea what he's got underneath us. He didn't get to make a dry lap out here. So this is, you know, they threw something at this, I'm sure, and look at him. He is sprint car driving that thing all around this place. He has absolutely no rear grip, but he is doing a great job hanging on to it, because you got Chris Dyson right on your bumper, and Chris is hot and heavy and ready to go, because he sees really an ailing car in front of him. You can see the back end of that Trackhouse Chevy Camaro just dancing all over the place. As we got, looked like Billy Griffin spun off here.
Yep, that's the 14 race for RP number 14 off, but luckily still under power, so that's good news for him as Billy Griffin does get going. The man in GT, former champion in GT, of course, Billy Griffin, and a regular here in TA. But look at this. Now, Dyson's probably wondering to himself, what do I do now? Because already Boris is building on that lead and losing second and third quickly. So Dyson will want to get past Marks, but he also knows that Boris isn't a challenge for his championship. So I guess he'll kind of bide his time, but he'll want to get past. He's a racer driver after all.
After all, absolutely. That's the whole point of what we do out here. And you can see Will Rogers up there in the XGT car mixing it up with these TA cars. He is not giving an inch on these. It's supposed to be a faster class of car. He's definitely right there in the mix. And I'm sure frustrating a little bit Tommy Dreesy, as I can see it there, as we're on board with Will Rogers in this XGT car. This is a Chris Evans Inc. prepared. This has been a new car. It's a purpose-built chassis. They, you know, it has a lot of horsepower. It's a really cool concept that they're doing here and what they're bringing here to the Trans Am Series. And so it's an arrive and drive program as well. You can come in, helmet bag and helmet, and they'll put you to work behind the wheel, just like Will Rogers is doing here. So really good race here. But like you said, Chris Dyson is needing to get around Justin Marks. This is what he's watching, that yellow Dodge just take off and disappear. Now, for a points race, he's in great shape. Matthew Brabham's, you know, kind of buried Amar back there in the pack on a track that's very, very difficult to pass and overtake on. But nonetheless, you want to score those maximum points, and you want to win every race that you got out here.
Well, that was my next question. How far could Brabham get? Is Mid-Ohio a place where you can side through? He's already managed to get up to 8th position. If I know Matthew Brabham, he'll be still going for victory and still thinking he can do this.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can see he's right behind Amy Ruman here, and he's behind Amy Ruman and David Paterick battle. This is a great battle that we have going right here for position. And, yeah, Matthew, you can tell, is just being really patient, because it's also, you can really use up your stuff trying to work through the field too fast. You use up your brakes and use up the goodie of the tire. So he's being really smart and being patient. There's our two-time champ and local hero there, Amy Ruman, in the McNichols Chevrolet Corvette. And they picked up a new sponsor, as you talked about here.
Valley Automotive Group, yeah.
Valley Automotive Group here. So that's a big deal for her. She's getting a poke underneath the inside here from Matthew Brabham into kink down the back straightaway. We're working back up front here with the Chris Dyson and Justin Marks battle, and this is a brilliant battle. Justin, I feel your pain. I had my mirror full of that Jim Weed Ford Mustang a week ago.
Yes, you know all about it. And Chris Dyson is formidable when chasing somebody. He's like an Alsatian or a Labrador. Once he gets a bone in his mouth, or once he gets a dogged approach to it, he is going to be all over you, and he will not let go. And we're on board, and we can see it for ourselves. Justin, though, seems to have reacted well as the car settled down. He seems to be a little bit more comfortable, because I would have predicted that Chris wouldn't have wasted any time in getting by if he really was in trouble. Meanwhile, Boris said is curlier than his hair is at the moment. He is on fire. He's flying. He's already gone past the start-finish as these guys join the start-finish and go into the first corner. Battles everywhere. Here comes Brabham. He's got past Ruman. Now Pintarek is his next opponent. But David Pintarek might just be a little bit harder to overtake.
Yeah,
racing at home, remember.
Boris is absolutely ripping out there. He was able to set pace. And you said it. The Justin Marks is, number 99. Trackhouse Chevrolet Camaro has calmed down in the rear. So those rear tire pressures came up, and I think that might have been a move, maybe starting him a little lower with those air pressures. A really smart move by Gary Seelix and the boys, because this is about rear tire with this place. You're always on the power here. So this is a move for position here between David Paterick and Matthew Brabham. Matthew Brabham's going to get the better of him into turn 4. Then that puts Matthew into P6. Next one on the list for him will be none other than Tommy Dreese.
And again, you know, he actually made quick work of getting past Paterick. Dreese, though, another tough one to get past. As again, Dyson putting the pressure on. We're on board now with Will Rogers, 24-year-old from Mooresville, North Carolina. And whenever you say Mooresville, North Carolina, you know there's racing in the blood. There's racing in the water there, I reckon.
Oh, absolutely. I spent 10 years living in Mooresville, North Carolina, and we talk in exits there. You know, you live at exits. Are you at exit 28? You at exit 30, exit 33, exit 36, exit 42? It's actually quite comical. I don't think anywhere else I've been to in the country you're referred to like, where do you live? Well, I live at exit 36. So, but yeah, it's great to see some more talent inside this paddock, and Will Rogers certainly has that in spades. He put his TA2 car that he's running as well, I think in the top 5 or deep into the top 10 in our practice session earlier this morning. So he's going to be a formidable competitor for this TA2 paddock on both sides as we look at Amy Ruman coming through again.
Yeah, and Amy Ruman is going to be careful about this battle, because this is a battle for the championship. She is in her own personal battle for 5th and 4th in the championship with David Paterick, so she doesn't want to get any mechanical issues. I talked to her earlier in the weekend. She loves racing here. She's been coming here since she was a young girl, watching her dad race here. The family come. There was about 30 Rumanites, if that's what you call them, Rumanites on the grid, all in their black and red shirts before the race. So it's a really important day and a weekend for them. The new sponsor on board, and she really wants to get a good result out of there. I said, you know, what are your thoughts? She says, well, it's been a ridiculously up and down season. I've had some, you know, decent races, but I've also had some bad luck. Which has been the story of the last couple of years at Trans Am for Amy. Remember, a 2-time champion, one of the best female drivers in America.
Yeah, she totally is, and we talked about that yesterday. You know, fans, you can look into YouTube, onto our YouTube channel for something that I think was pretty fun that we did yesterday for the Indianapolis race last week. When that all gets done and released, keep your eyes out, because you're going to want to check that out. It was a lot of fun the way we kind of did that broadcast. And so hopefully you all enjoy it. And Amy Ruman spoke to that. You know, it's the one sport where you get behind the wheel and you're just a race car driver. And she is truly a race car driver. She's a 2-time champion in this very competitive series. She's won a lot of races in the Trans Am series. And, you know, they've struggled of late, but they're getting a grasp on this new Pirelli tire and doing a great job. And it's a true family organization down there between cousins and you know, and mom and dad and the whole group. So and look at Matthew Brabham on the
just
outside.
did a Borisset on him, didn't he? Nicely
he just did
done.
a Borisset on Tommy Dreese, and you know, Tommy was good, clean racing there. And Tommy at this point, man, hook of, you know, just throw your fishing line onto the rear wing of Matthew Brabham and just hang on for that ride, you know, because he's obviously got a ton of pace, and he's working his way through this field as he's gone ahead and put himself now into P4, right behind his teammate Chris Dyson. So this is going to be, you know, a really good battle as he moves forward. And it's going to be interesting to see how he can make up some of the time that he lost, being kind of marred back there in the group, as the battle for Justin Marks and Chris Dyson continues to go on in front of them.
The Brabham name continues to race hard everywhere around the world, but Matthew Brabham, the man of the moment, at the moment, of course, the son of Jeff, whose own career was stellar here in the USA, especially here, I'm sure, at Mid-Ohio. And Matthew Brabham tearing it up here as he had to come from the back. Qualifying was a bit of a lottery with the weather, and so we've got a sort of a mixed-up group, but Brabham siding his way through, as you say, bit by bit, as we go back on board with Will Rogers.
Yeah, you know, Will Rogers working his way through the Big Machine Vodka Spike Cooler's keyhole, the most famous corner here at Mid-Ohio, as they accelerate hard down this back straightaway into the Bennett Bridge Hall turn 4. This is probably one of my favorite corners on the track. Like you said, this is 2 lanes wide. You can really have a lot of fun racing. It is probably the best place to pass as we get through the Optima battery. S is at turn 5, and you're really getting it down the hill here. This is the technical part of the course where you hear the tire noise and you come up over Madness here into the hill. And through all this kind of business, you are just unsettled. You are unsettled till finally you get over this hill and the compression happens and you plant the power as you come into here. Turn 11 is probably the most fun high-speed corner here, medium-speed corner at Mid-Ohio. Blind up over the crest, and you're going to approach the three-dimensional services group carousel, and that is, again, a really tight corner, diamond the corner off, so you get a good straight exit. So you can come out of turn number 13, accelerate down this front straightaway, and really nail Mission Foods turn 1.
Yeah, it's interesting. That last corner, you saw it on board with the Lucas onboard of Tommy Dreesy. It's slightly off camber, and I noticed in the wet how people can get caught out by putting the power down too early on the exit. But you really kind of want to because you know you've got that mini straight.
Oh, I tell you what, this place, of all places you go to, will punish your greed. You know, you want to stay away from that 7 deadly because it will definitely bite you here because greed is the big enemy. Look at the battle up front. Justin Marks has sucked in, and I'm telling you what, folks, he is almost 2 seconds a lap faster than Boris said. And I got to say here that I think Boris said might be having some sort of an issue with this Weaver Dodge. I don't want to talk out of turn here. But it doesn't seem like it seems like it might be down on power, but it'd be great. Maybe Ben Sissel could get down there to Pancho Weaver and see if Boris said is saying anything over the radio.
Yeah, it does seem odd because he had, 3 or 4 second lead about a lap ago.
The motor's pulling, so I don't think it's a horsepower problem here. It looked like it went down the straightaway pretty good there. That's a good little squirt of a straightaway, that would tell you. But this is definitely, throw a blanket on the top 3, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to get good.
This is great stuff. The top 3, absolutely nothing between them as they dive into turn 1 here at Mid-Ohio. Justin Marks in the 99. He carries that number because that's the number of his driver in NASCAR. That, of course, Daniel Suarez of Mexico. Now, let's go into the keyhole with Justin Marks, but can't quite do it. And for now, anyway.
You got to wake up pretty early in the morning to outbreak Boris said into the keyhole. So that Big Machine Vodka Spike Cooler's keyhole is that's like bread and butter there for this Pancho Weaver Dodge of Boris said. Looks like whatever it is got sorted because it seemed like, he's definitely got the legs going down the straightaway here. And I just think maybe traffic got in there and cost him some time, but that huge lead that Boris really built up, it disappeared quick, fast, and in a hurry, and it'd be interesting to see how that happened and what happened there.
Yeah, like you say, it's still pulling. Now they've got traffic, but it is pulling out of the keyhole. You saw it, obviously, there. You had no problem.
My only speculation now is traffic, and I would be pretty confident to say that he just caught traffic. If you catch traffic, you could be 6 seconds faster, 6 seconds a lap faster than a car in front of you. You catch him in the wrong spot here at Mid-Ohio, I don't care, you're not getting around him.
Yeah, but Boris is a master of tactics and strategy here. He knows he may be under pressure for most of this race, so he's going to pick his moments as they come through the three-dimensional services group carousel. It's great to see it from high above. That's that last corner I talked about, and look at him doing defensive work here. Marks trying every which way to make his marks and get past.
Yeah, Milton Grant in the GT Porsche was possible help there to Justin Marks, like I said. And, you don't win as many endurance races, Boris said, has without knowing how to work traffic. That is the art of the game in endurance racing. So Boris is one of the absolute best in that in the business. And I tell you, if Justin's not careful, he's going to leave the door open for this Jimweed Ford Mustang of Chris Dyson.
I know. Justin Marks has got to look forward and back at the moment. He's got one of the best racers in the world, or in America certainly, Boris said, in front of him, and he's got our current champion, Chris Dyson, celebrating the Dyson Racing 40th year at Lime Rock this year. And so he's got his work cut out. We'll see how good Justin Marks really is in this race for sure. Yeah, and look who's in 4th now.
Yeah, and you got Matthew Brabham that's just went ahead and joined the party. So you remember about the blanket on the top 3?
Yeah,
you better get a comforter for the top 4.
Well, I asked Matthew Brabham, and he was kind of cagey about it yesterday, if there were team orders, if he had a chance unfettered to go for the championship at Coda, is he going to go for it? And he kind of hinted that yes, he would, because he's a racing driver, and Chris is a racer. Yes, he is the boss, but Chris is all about whatever happens, I want City Racing to win the championship.
Well, and that's true. He's a competitor first, and he's a competitor that also owns this race team, and he wants that race team to have the best chance of success. And I'm going to go ahead and break the news to every race fan out there. Every team has team orders.
Yeah.
What those team orders are, that's between them and the team. And that's why they're team orders. You will never find out what they are because It's all behind closed doors. It's all held in privacy. You know, you and I are close friends, and I know you've even tried to pump me for some of my information on team orders in the past.
I have.
And how coy have I been?
Very coy indeed. When you were at three-dimensional, I was asking you all sorts of interesting questions, but you gave me nothing.
And that's always by design, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's the privilege of driving for any team that you keep that stuff within the walls, and you take that stuff with you, and that's how you keep the respect and earn the respect, and that's how you also, you know, keep yourself at the pointy end of the field. But I mean, how fortunate are we, how blessed are we that we're getting this race up front of TA? This is so exciting here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
This is so cool. Remember, folks, we're talking unlimited power. We're talking 850 brake horsepower plus, potentially. Adam will put me straight because he races these cars, but just tell me a little bit about why you love racing these cars and what's so important about it.
It is dyno braking horsepower. I mean, this is the horsepower that you hear engine builders say, oh, you know, it broke my dyno. But
yep.
You're able to plant it to the ground. It's got a big wide rear tire on it, and the talent out here. I mean, look at Boris said, Justin Marks, Chris Dyson, Matthew Brabham, all right there in your screenshot. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a massive
and all
amount
from
of
different
talent.
walks of life and racing.
100%, and that's what makes Trans Am racing so beautiful. Is it doesn't discriminate. You know, you could be of any discipline. Come here to Trans Am, be in a competitive car, and he's got a heck of a run down here into the Bennett Bridge Hall turn 4. Will he make it? No. I tell you, like I said, wake up pretty early in the morning to outbrake, Boris said.
Well, we just got an illustration of how to use that power. 170 plus miles an hour down the back straight for Justin Marks as he goes in pursuit of the Dodge Challenger of Poncho Weaver Prepared's Boris said. Number 2.
And it's
more
like,
traffic still there.
It's almost like a recall of what I witnessed last week with Chris Dyson behind me. He was faster than me in all the wrong places to be able to pass me, and that's what I'm seeing out of Justin Marks. He's faster than Boris said in the tight stuff, and that's where he's gaining the time on him, and that's overall lap time. However, when you want to go past somebody, you need to get down that straightaway and out of the keyhole, and it seems like that's where Boris said is really, really strong, is out of that big machine Vaca Spike Cooler's keyhole.
So we've got a cracking race on our hands. Said, Marks, Dyson and Brabham, that's your top 4, and nothing is being asked, nothing being given. What a race we've got on our hands.
And Justin Marks, I mean, the brilliance of that guy and what he studies, and I mean, you might be watching him go through turn 1 under the bridge and say, man, he's really kind of offline from Boris and not using as much of the racetrack. That's because he's trying to keep the air on the inside front tire and the inside front fender so that it plants that inside front tire, and that's why he's getting all that drive.
What's happening here?
It's a shame to see Tommy Dreese inside in the pit road here. The 3 GT crew gets hard to work and immediately starts popping the hood. That usually means that they may feel like they're down on power, looking maybe for a spark plug that's off.
Well, there's nothing on the outside. He hasn't hit anything.
No, that's a positive. So they're going to take a look underneath here at the intake tubes, make sure that it's getting the air that it needs into the carburetor. But it seems to me like they're looking at the engine compartment. So don't know exactly, and I'm sure Ben Sissel's all over to try and see if he can find out what's happened over there.
Remember, they've rebuilt this car since Lime Rock, so you never know. Something might be not as it should be, but they're tightening something up there. What would that be?
That's a good question. I mean, again, it's right about where maybe a plug wire would be, and there might have been a plug wire that shook off of these things. As said, these are, 850 plus horsepower, fire-breathing monsters. They shake a lot. They can pop a plug. They have been known to pop a plug wire off. Which, if it was still raining out there, that's not a bad strategy. Almost like traction control.
Yeah, no kidding.
But on a dry racetrack, you're sitting duck.
This is fantastic. 4-way battle, lap after lap.
You just don't want it to end, really.
No.
We only get 30 more laps of this, Jonathan Green. How can we get more? So let's call to the booth and get some more up there to race control.
Well, he continues to lead, as Boris said. He got away brilliantly at the start. Had about a 3-second gap at one point, but now it's come down to nothing, and the 99 is all over him at the moment. Right now, Dyson is 3rd, and Matthew Brabham is still in 4th position. You're watching Trans Am on MAV TV, and we welcome you all to what has been so far an absolute cracker out of Andretti. This is what we want. We've got a top 4 now. Brabham came from the back but has joined them, and it's anybody's race.
It is. It absolutely is. And at the same time, you know, like we said, the XGT battle is really non-existent because Will Rogers is absolutely dominating that class as he's running top 5 overall. You know, he's ahead of the perennials favorites of David Paterick and the Ohio gang, if you will, Dave Paterick and Amy Ruman. Wally Dollenbach Jr. there in TA Historic, you know, he's winning that deal. He's 8th overall. Remember, he started at the tail of the field, so he's definitely worked his way up in that Ultimate Headers Ford Mustang. Definitely one of the most beautiful cars out there, as Justin Marks is looking everywhere. Around the outside of the Big Machines, Vodka Spike Coolers keyhole, that's a tough one. And then you got a really good battle there in the GT class of, you know, like Lee Saunders and Chris Coffey. You know, they're 2 different classes, but it's definitely in the GT.
And look at that, Chris Dyson makes his move and does it in style. Brabham's trying to do the same.
That was a great move on Justin Marks, and we talked about it, right? Justin's so wanting to get around. You know, Boris tried that outside move around the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers keyhole. That opened the door down to Bennett Bridge Hall turn 4, and now you're basically going to see if you can tuck in behind Chris Dyson, who is itching to get by Boris Said as they approach turn number 11 here. A really fast left-hander, not necessarily a traditional passing zone here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, but they're going to head into the 3-dimensional services group carousel. And I tell you what, Chris Dyson gets through this corner really good. He may take a stab at him at the Michelin Foods turn 1.
Still glued together though as they come out of the carousel. I can confirm in an XGT, Chris Evans out with a suspension issue. That's why Chris went out. But at the front, into turn 1 they go. And Poncho Weaver biting his nails at the moment, as Boris said, his hair uncurling because he has got the curliest hair in the world. But here comes Marks back on Dyson at the inside of the keyhole. No, can't quite do it.
You know, you could be so deep on the brakes into, you know, the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers keyhole because you're going uphill. So you can really, really late brake. And I tell you, Chris is getting through that keyhole and down this back straightaway. So, you know, the mirrors are full there for Boris Said as they go through the Bennett Bridge Hall turn number 4. Go up to the Optim Batteries turn 5. This is like a throwaway corner. Like, you don't see anyone make a pass there and or anything like that.
That's what you mean by a throwaway.
Right, by a throwaway, right? Yeah. You're not, you know, you're kind of going to sacrifice some lap time up there to get the optimum corner speed. So when you get down to turn 6, that you can really get through madness, which was what we call this section, really, really well. And it is madness. It's off camber and it's trying to suck you into the walls, and these guys are just doing an amazing job.
Just heard broken belt for Tommy Dreese. He has retired.
That's a shame. We hate to see that. They worked really, really hard to get that car back on the racetrack. It was a big hats off to Showtime Motorsports for bringing a car for Tommy Dreese so he could stay in this battle at Indianapolis last week. And so he's back with his street GT career. Look what could happen down here into turn 1. Will that happen? No. They're going to stay 1, 2, 3 here. Boris Said, Chris Dyson, and Justin Marks gets through turn 1.
This is fantastic, Adam. Look at this, side-by-side racing. They each take a different side. This is out of a video game.
So this is where, again, I would say Justin needs to be careful because he's trying that outside line. You got Matthew Brabham ready to pounce, just like Chris Dyson did down this back straightaway if he's not careful. Justin doesn't look worried behind that wheel.
No, he doesn't, does he?
Calm and cool as a cucumber. And will he pop on Chris Dyson?
Well, this is the battle I've been wanting all season, which is Dyson versus Marks, because both these men are on the top of their game. Both have got different histories, both have got sports car backgrounds, but Marks has only come back to full-time racing this season in Trans Am, while Dyson has been ploughing his furrow at the top of his game at the sharp end for many, many years, whether it be sports cars or Trans Am.
Oh, exactly right. And they're both in that new Ave Riley chassis. So
right.
It's been, and different bodies and different engines. Obviously, one's a Ford Mustang with Chris Dyson and Jim Weed, and the other one's a Trackhouse Chevrolet Camaro, which, why would it be anything else, being it's Justin Marks and his Trackhouse crew there and the great support they get from General Motors and Chevrolet. So it's it really is the battle that not only you and I have wanted to see, Jonathan Green, all year long, but every single Trans Am race fan.
Absolutely. Well, if you are a Trans Am fan and have been since '66 like myself, you're going to be loving this, because this is as close as we've had in TA all season, except for perhaps Indianapolis, which we weren't at. But we certainly got a good report there from Adam. Into the keyhole again.
Ooh, Boris gets wide. He slips up, and you got to have Chris Dyson going to take advantage of this. It's going to be a drag race down the back straightaway here. This is going to get good down into the Bennett Bridge Hall turn 4. He takes a little side draft off of Boris Said into the kink, has a nose on him. Now it comes down to who can break later.
Oh, fantastic stuff. As into the lead of the race goes the championship contender and our current champion, Chris Dyson, in the 16 Jim Weed Ford Mustang.
I got to tell you, I sat on the pit wall there with Chris Dyson just before we did our opening, Jonathan Green. And that man, I couldn't get to crack a smile. He was focused. He was lasered in on exactly the job that he is doing right now. And he is on it. He is showing us why he's a two-time champion. He is showing us why we always worry about Chris Dyson as a driver. Because, and you see Justin Marks, it looks like now the handling is starting to go away on this Dodge because Boris is starting to make some uncharacteristic little slip-ups there. And around the outside
Nicely
of the
done.
three-dimensional services group carousel. And that's going to open the door for Matthew Brabham to stick his nose into this podium underneath into the Mission Foods Turn 1. Matthew Brabham into P3. Way to
In
go.
one corner, Boris loses 2 places there. That was a bold maneuver around the carousel. You don't often see that. And now Marks has got what he wants, which is to go in pursuit of Chris Dyson. Meanwhile, Brabham, though, will try to protect his teammate by getting past Marks as soon as he can.
I am so impressed by that move by Justin Marks. You are right. The carousel on the outside is not.
Let's take a look at it again.
Do.
Let's have a look at it
Let's
again.
Look at that. I look at that 100 times over. So beautiful, beautiful. You see a little slip up into the keyhole. That's going to get the underneath to Chris Dyson. What a great drag race then. We're going to get down the back straightaway with ultimately Chris Dyson getting the better of the champion of Boris Said in that Weaver Dodge by sponsored by Technique and Menards and Ultimate Headers as well. As they come through here, Boris has no choice but to give it up, going up to, you know, the Optima batteries, turn 5. And then as you come through the, we got one stuck in the kitty litter. That's the number 12.
Of Jack Rinke.
And that's going to definitely probably bring us out a full course caution because that looks like a pretty peculiar place. Might be even either up at the top of the keyhole is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's an interesting car. I was talking to John Claggett about it. They are the official, or one of the official suppliers of these beautiful Chevrolets. They showed it off at PRI last year. At the PRI show, there's a brand new car that's made available, a race car, spec race car, and you can buy it at basic or you can upgrade it. Yes, we've got the caution, but yeah, real shame for Jack Rinke because his teammate Naparalski had an off yesterday. That's why he's not out there. So it's just not turned out well for the Turnkey Motorsport team, who make some fantastic cars and are a big part now of growing the GT and SGT part of the series.
Well, and if you recall, I was talking about earlier in the race how deep you could drive into the big Michelin Vodka Spike Cooler's keyhole. Well, it can also bite you just as easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Green, because it wants to suck you in. So might have got themselves a little bit turned around, and it's a shame to see them stuck up there in the kitty litter. But the crack safety crew here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, this is some of the best in the business. They're going to get right to this. And hopefully we go green here real soon because this has been, I mean, honestly, it gives us a chance to catch our breath, Jonathan Green. This has been tough.
Well, talking of catching our breath, why don't we do just that? Because we're under caution here, and in a moment we'll get back into the to the fray of it all. There's no question it's going to be an interesting battle, this. But this has been absolute muscle car magic from Mid-Ohio. Join us after this break. Welcome back to the Trans Am coverage on MAV TV and around the world of our race from Mid-Ohio, the sports car course steeped in history back to the late 60s when Trans Am began, and of course Trans Am began in 1966. We've had some fantastic racing so far. We welcome you back to our coverage on MAV TV, and I've got Adam Andretti alongside me. And it's been an interesting race, if not a fascinating race, because it's the closest race we've had all season.
Yeah, it's been a total cracker, to use one of your terms. It only has.
It's been a cracker.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. We have thoroughly enjoyed this. I mean, truthfully, folks at home, we needed that break. That little commercial break we got was just as much for Jonathan Green as it was for our partners that support us. So, and myself, it's been a lot of fun to call, and the racing up front, it's been clean too.
Yes.
No one has we haven't seen a wisp of bodywork smoke go up on anybody. I mean, it has been super, super clean. Let me tell you how hard that is to do with these cars.
I can well imagine. Now, we've been talking about Chris Dyson. He's just taken the lead. So let's head down to Ben Sissel and find out what the latest is with their crew chief.
Check. Well, I'm here with Stevie Dix here with the Jim Weed team. And I got to say, Dyson, Brabham, they're looking really fast, but we've got 4 huge names up front. How cool is that?
Oh, it's really cool, and we're happy to see our Jim Weed Ford Mustangs running hard this weekend. We've been learning a lot about our setups and such forth, and we've made major gains in our Riley chassis this weekend, and it's really showing.
Now, we saw Brabham have really good luck here last year, and it seems like the Dyson team doesn't quite understand team orders. And from my eye, it seemed like Matt Brabham is the fastest car out there. Is he going to get around Justin Marks, and are we going to see a Dyson 1-2 go at it?
That's what we're hoping for. That's how we run it. We run our cars as hard as we can, and they will be battling at the end, hopefully.
So you're hoping for a Dyson 1-2 at Jim Weed Victory Lane here in a few minutes. Hey, and I got to give it to you. You're like up tempo now, Stevie. You must be having some Jim Weed. I love it. Gentlemen, back to you.
Oh, yes. That, of course, the sponsor of the car that he represents. Jim Weed, a new product, actually, on the market, if you will, a energy drink, and actually an interesting drink because it tastes pretty good and it's good for you.
It's clean, yeah. It doesn't have all those things that they tell you about with the the famous and popular big multi-popular energy drinks out there. It gets a lot of attention here lately. That's not necessarily the best for your health, but the Jim Weed product, and it's brought to us again by a man who brings us health products and has always done so in a great way. And Greg Pickett,
all the way back to Muscle Milk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so Greg Pickett really cares about his fellow people. He really wants the people to have the best products out there, and there's a need for our fast-paced lives that we live, in the world today. There's a need for a little extra energy spike every once in a while, and so yeah, Jim Weed is out there on the market, and it's a much cleaner source for your energy needs.
I like these onboards, Will Rogers, especially the way that's positioned, because you get to see how he works in his office, how he changes the gears. We've been on board with you from now and again with that front-facing camera, and it's always easy. It's always good to see how you go about your business.
Yeah, I like it too. I get to see a lot more of the car's attitude. If I'm doing things that are inducing some handling issues in the car, you want to see that as well, because as a driver, you need to be your own worst critic, and you need to come out on yourself as hard as possible and to get better. As we see the pace car coming off, and now our restarts are right here out of the carousel and number.
Yeah, this is going to be
14,
interesting.
So this is going to be a good start here. And Chris Dyson, he knows how to restart here at Mid-Ohio.
Here we go then. It's the Dysons and the Marks. But who's going to be on the mark at the start of this one? Away goes Chris Dyson. And Marks immediately to the inside. He's already challenging. Meanwhile, Brabham goes to the inside and takes Marks, who hits the grass. He missed his mark completely and goes off. What a disaster for Justin Marks.
Yeah, and the grass is he got actually rather lucky that he's got a tire left on the pavement because the grass is so wet here, as we spoke about, and he's trying to get that thing refired. He gets it refired, but yeah, unfortunate. What happened there, I believe, is the car, he was very, very well pitched down to the inside as he was trying to get an inside run, so he kind of pitched the entry of the corner off, and then you get the aero wash, right? Chris Dyson comes across his nose to hit the apex, and that takes all the air off the front of that number 99 Trackhouse Chevrolet Camaro, and he was really along for the ride, Justin Marks was. But you know what? The guy was going for it. You cannot fault the guy going for it, and he went for it, and we appreciate you for that, Justin Marks. So
yeah, no
get
question.
back up in the battle.
That's a rare mistake he's made. Let's take a look at it again, Adam.
Yeah, just right here, you see this is he right there. You see how Chris comes across the front, and all of a sudden there's no steering. He's got no. However, did a great job not to get stuck in the kitty litter here. Stays on the power.
Yeah,
brave move. What a great job, and a great job by all the other competitors not to get wrapped up into that. So, just really, really good work. And I tell you what, you can kind of breathe easy up front, a little easier up front if you're Chris Dyson. You got friendly fire behind you. And you got Boris said there saying thank you again. I'm back on the podium. And you got Will Rogers in the XGT running 4th overall. That's exciting. And it's really going to be really fun to talk to him after this race and see what he thought about driving that XGT car. And see when he's going to get in one of these TA cars and go for the overall win, because he's obviously got the talent and the skill to do so.
Yeah, he's only 24 is Will, and I believe he's been doing some driver training as well for the TA drivers. So definitely a busy man, but this has been a great performance so far, and as you say, absolutely pulverizing the XGT crowd at the moment, and overall could be in contention for a podium, which would be fantastic. He sits 4th at the moment, and you can see his competition down in 9th position. Meanwhile, Dollenbach leading in the Masters. Remember, he's got a 2000
yeah, it's a historic. Yeah,
historic.
TA historic. It's a TAH. He's P7 overall, which is a really good run, for that group. And then those men and women there at Cobra Automotive worked so hard to put that product out on the racetrack, and it's one of the most beautiful products on the track. I mean, it's a beautiful Ultimate Headers Ford Mustang, owned by John Cloud, just one of the absolute class acts in this Trans Am paddock. One of the favorite people in this paddock. He celebrates 30 years in motorsports
there he is.
This year, and there's a good look at that Ford Mustang as it went by. So top 3 now has got, they kind of taken away some of our excitement. It's spread out enough that it's not a full-on attack, but I'd have to say Will Rogers, and look at, you got my buddy here, Wally Dollenbach Jr., who's going to hunt down the 2-time champ of Amy Ruman and make that a battle for position for P6 here pretty soon, I'm hoping.
Well, you'll see a similar liveried Ultimate Headers car in the blue tomorrow as Adam Andretti takes the Ultimate Headers car out, but it's Wally's turn today. Wally's going to swap over and come join me, but as a multiple champion, great to have a doyen of Trans Am like him here in the booth.
Oh, it's awesome, and I tell you what, to have him, as like a pseudo teammate down there, and we're having so much fun. And we're calling it Cloud Corner because we got all of Garage C over here, and it's just been a great little party out there. The food has been great, the atmosphere is amazing. We got
food's good.
Yeah, food's good. We have. Oh yeah.
I had a taco yesterday.
Yeah, we had, and we have over 150 guests coming throughout the weekend from Ultimate Headers and also John Cloud's different business interests, because this is his home track. This is a home race for Ultimate Headers. I actually have Ultimate Headers on my TA2 car, so for me it's such a privilege and so cool that you actually have the product inside the car. It's very similar to Technique right here with Pancho Weaver Dodge. Technique, supplies the things that Pancho Weaver needs to keep that race car on the track and to build race cars. So you love to see how these partnerships work out and how it all comes down into fruition on the racetrack.
I often get asked why there are the different categories in the Trans Am series like this, the TA. And the reason being is that the tubular frame, the sort of silhouette, if you will, just like NASCAR, is what we call TA, the ultimate powered high-powered cars, but then we go back to production cars like this Mercedes, and that's really the essence of how Trans Am started. It started off as a production series back in '66, and so we keep true to that tradition, and the GT and SGT and now XGT, it's all part of that same tradition, so I'm glad they've kept that going.
And it really, yeah, absolutely, because TA's always been multi-class racing for the most part, and we've had multi-class racing. The history of it is multi-class, so to stick with the history of it, my hat's off to always the group there, you know, John Claggett, being led by John Claggett, our president of the Trans Am Series, and because they keep with the history but also make it all modern. These are modern race cars. These are the peak of the sport, and as we've seen here recently, you know, the amazing engineering firm of Riley, you know, coming out with their new Ave Riley chassis, and they've got 3 of them represented out here today. You had Claudio Burton last week with the top liner Chevrolet Camaro, and the Burton Racing, the first chassis of his new race car that was introduced last week, and that's a revolution of the TA class. But then I love what you said, the production cars. I mean, it's a beautiful marriage of it, and again, to me, it's kind of cool to have a race car that I could put a license plate on it and go to dinner at night. But you can't do that with a TA car, but those GT cars, you could. They have turn signals, they have headlights, they have all the things that the police officer is going to pull you over for not having, and that's something that you don't have on the purebred, absolute purebred race cars like a TA car.
Well, somebody's going to pull over Justin Marks. He's siding his way back through the field because he is on a rip at the moment. Brilliant stuff. He's already up to 7th place after that little incident at turn 1 where he washed out and ended up in the grass, but he's on his way back up, and he's now got Dollenbach now in 7th place. Excuse me, he's at 8th at the moment, and now Dollenbach is the next one, and see if he can get past him. But interesting to see Justin make his way through and hopefully get some decent points out of this. But at the front, it's still Chris Dyson and Matthew Brabham, the 2 CD racing cars, as it's been all season long. Matthew's won 2 races, 1 at Sebring and 1 last time out at Indy, and Justin Marks has got a win under his belt. Obviously, Dyson continues to win. But it's been an interesting season, but totally dominated so far from CD Racing.
Yeah, and Justin, really, I tell you, looking at his lap times, all he's looking for is a full course caution to bunch this back up.
Yeah.
You know, he's 25 seconds roughly behind the leaders, but he's turning laps that are a quarter of a second faster per lap. So, you know, like his last lap time was a 23.8 with Chris Dyson at a 24.1. So he's about, you know, that quarter of a second. Now, that's way too much of a gap to just make up, being a quarter of a second faster at a time. So, but if he gets that full course caution, I think he's got something to bring it to him.
Quick glimpse there of Ricky Sanders in SGT, currently 11th overall. Here he is coming into turn 1 for the Bridge Hall team.
Yeah, looking good, looking great in that Porsche, that Bennett Bridge Hall Porsche, and great supporters of the series too. It's been great having that group in too to support us. You know, we love the partners that we have in this series, and those are some of the greatest ones there, those Bennett Bridge Hall folks, and really enjoy the Lowrys and their company out there, and having conversations with them, and they put great race cars on the racetrack, and it's a lot of fun to watch them perform.
Yeah, it wasn't until I got into a decent chat with Danny Lowry that I realized just how big a turnover company both Bridgehall and Bennett's are, and so yeah, absolutely delighted.
The passion for the sport comes through with the partners that we have, and that's what makes it absolutely so much fun. One of the key elements to what makes this paddock great is there's so much business to business that goes on in this paddock, and you see it all the time, and whether it be in the racing side of things or in the true outside world of the businesses that they produce. So you know, it's really truly a blessing to be a part of it, Jonathan.
Yeah, no question. Out and in and out of the three-dimensional services group Carousel. From high above, we look down on the Porsche making his way into turn 1. That's a nice view of turn 1. Now you see the angle, if you will, how it's like effectively a right-hand 90-degree turn there.
Yeah, I would go left.
I mean, yeah.
I'm going to go left there. You can go right.
I was just trying to see if we could get some excitement for tomorrow's race.
The only time I went right was I got in trouble, and because I went and I took someone out at the top of the hill after the race. So So I don't go right anymore there. But
No,
the
fair
left is definitely the way to go. But looking here at the 97
That's the Maserati.
car.
That's the only Maserati out there leading the GT class.
It's so cool. And Chris Coffey and that Maserati. And, you know, I'm Italian, of course, so you got to love when you see some of the Italian flair out there doing its job and doing it so well. What a beautifully prepared car that is, and it's definitely getting held a pretty wheel with the Traffic Graphics number 97 doing its thing.
Yeah, it's funny. Maserati have I mean, you know, we know them as obviously in there with Lamborghinis and Porsches and Ferraris and all these great exotic cars, but we don't see them as much on the racetrack.
Yeah, you know, and you know, see Chris Coffey out here showing them what they can do. I mean, that's what helps bring some more competition out here. Just like, you know, Danny Lowry in Mercedes-Benz GT3, it brings extra competition out because you got something that you want to beat, right? You want to beat the best out there, and these are some of the best race cars built by some of the best engineers in the world.
And a little further back as we take a look at the number 6.
Cary Grant.
Another Porsche line again, yeah, and going good. Cary Grant won a race earlier in this season, and this is his 35th race in Trans Am. And the Grants, of course, have a whole family of racers. Keith Grant, Milton Grant, Cary Grant.
Yeah, Andretti's used to do the same thing.
Yeah,
back
I've heard
in
of
the
them
day.
too, yeah.
Yeah, we used to do the same thing, but we try to fill the field and it increases your chances. So, but yeah.
I'd love to see a home lawnmower race between the Andretti's.
that could end in tears.
It could.
End in tears and missing limbs is how I'd see that one ending up. Because my late brother John, God bless him, he would always say, you know, in our family, it's he who gets hurt last wins because we're all going to get hurt.
There's Milton Grant. I mentioned him just a moment ago. And the pair of them often seen together, obviously, given that it's father and son. Great to have them on board.
Here's a replay here. We're on board with Chris Dyson. Don't know what we're going to quite look at here, but on board with Chris Dyson coming down into the Bennett Bridge Halt turn 4.
No, this is live, but we're on board with Chris now.
Oh,
as he
okay,
goes
sorry, it
through
looked like
turn 4.
it said replay, but yeah, you're absolutely right. My apologies.
Great onboard pictures. It's nice to just listen to them for a second and get a sense of the revs and how they go about their business. But right now, on board with Chris Dyson, siding his way through the traffic here.
Yeah, Milton there trying. Milton Garrett trying to get out of the way and made it a little unpredictable for Chris Dyson. And, speaking with Milton yesterday, he goes, we try so hard not to be in the way. Trust me, we do. And we're like, just hold your line. We're going to make sure we find our way around you. And so that's where it got a little bit dicey there for our leader. But he's got a little bit of a gap behind. And really, Matthew's got no threat from the Poncho Weaver Dodge of Boris Said behind him in that technique.
Yeah, the gap, 1.5 seconds. You can see it visually yourself as they exit the keyhole here at Mid-Ohio, and it is Dyson, Brabant, and Said. Boris Said in third position, and as you can see,
and don't look now, but Justin Marks is turning lap times that are absolutely incredible.
He's behind Ruman now.
He just turned the fastest lap of the race by almost a second.
Wow!
Yeah, he just did a 22.3 while Dyson's in the 24. So
that is impressive.
And I know Dyson hit some traffic there, but you know, when you're looking at just a few laps ago, he was looking at a 26-second lead. Now he's looking at a 17-second lead from Justin Marks. So at the very least, you can see Justin definitely making his way back to the back bumper of Boris Said to get back on the podium spot. But he is definitely ripping around Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and you know he's in there just like this is like NOLA all over again, you know, just a slight little hiccup, and you can't give those away in the Trans Am Series, as he knows, because he handed it to him last time he was in him at Lime Rock. He really, really just showed everybody what Justin Marks is all about and just led that thing from flag to flag, and it looked like he was, you know, going to be a car to beat here today, and the lap times he's showing has proven that. I'm anxious to see what he cuts on this lap. And he puts down another 22.9 to Chris Dyson's 24 flat, and he takes another second out of that lead.
You're watching Trans Am here on MAP TV and around the world as we give you some great action, some onboards and some cracking action action from the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, and Justin Marks is siding his way through bit by bit. I get the impression, Adam, and you tell me, but there's a time when your adrenaline, the tires, the fuel, the rhythm is at its optimal, and you really just, you're in the zone. You can't be touched. It's like a golfer scoring, fantastic shots. You've just got the rhythm, and that's exactly where Justin is right now.
100%. I'm seeing just absolute precision moves by the guy. I'm seeing a lot of bravery too. It is so hard to outbrake a GT car with a TA car. I can't even express. Matthew Brown and I were talking about, he goes, the first time he tried to do that, he flew off the track at VIR because they're not carrying the speed we're carrying, and they have the grip under braking.
Right.
And so, you try to brake where they are, and Justin's held on to it down there into the Bennett Bridge Hall turn 4, so he's definitely in that zone, and that's the kind of moves that proves it to you. With all the traffic he went through, he still cut himself a 23.1, and that is, again, 1.2 seconds faster than our leader, and again, gained another second. If he keeps gaining a second a lap with 11 seconds left, he's going to fulfill my promise, like I said, and he's going to be a part with Boris.
He's not that far off the leaders. I just saw, as they went into the keyhole, a glimpse of Brabham going through shot there. He's got Rumen in front of him. Here we are on board, heading for the kink at turn 3 and turn 4. Let's see how much he makes up on the Corvette.
Yeah, he's got around Wally Dallenbach Jr. in the Ultimate Headers Ford Mustang. Now he is hunting down this mid-nickel Chevrolet Corvette with Amy Rumen here going up the hill here, turn number 5, Optima Batteries, turn 5. Beautiful red Corvette there. Valley Automotive, again, like we talked about, a new partner, so she's showing a really good run here. Is he going to take a dive? But again, like I said, you can be so much faster, and this is where you get held up, as we see the GT car, and that's going to open the door for Amy.
Thread that needle, Amy!
Awesome move.
Wow.
You see Justin go around. Those are two Ave Riley chassis going around each other, and this is a old Rocket Sports, probably the oldest chassis in the field there that Amy is just making work around this deal. So it's an older Rocket Sports, but it's got all the updates, right? But Bob Rumen is a great engineer, and it's got all the proper updates that you need to have on it. But it definitely is, an older chassis. So she's doing a fantastic job as always. And
Amy Rumen's got a lot of talents, but I didn't know seamstress was one of them. Boy, did she thread that needle.
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And Justin's going to really work hard to get around her here down this straightaway. He got a great run off the keyhole. He's going to get a little sniff.
There we go. And she's defending well. Look at that. Held him nicely there, and she may just make it into 4, and she has. That is great driving from Amy Rumen, fair driving. She said to me before the weekend started, I just want to stay clean. I've had an up and down season, but she is a heart and heart racer. She wants to at least put on a good performance here in front of the home crowd. This is where she's from, remember, Ohio. She's got the new sponsor, and she says, Justin Marks, if you want past me, you're going to have to force your way through.
Amy is 100% one of the hardest ones to pass, and it's because she's got that innate ability to feel where you want to go and where we need to be. And she played it perfectly down the back straightaway there into the Bennett Bridge Hall turn 4 because, that wasn't blocking. She made her one move. She kept it tight after the kink. And almost inviting Justin Marks. If you're going to go around, you got to go around the hallway. Now, she made a mistake.
Let's do it again there. Slight mistake. This is his opportunity.
This is going to open up into turn 1. Justin's alongside.
Will he think about the last time he went off here? No, not this time.
Well, he's got the grip on the front, right?
Yeah,
Clean
exactly.
air up front. And now Justin's going to set sail and see what he can do to try and make up a little more time. He stalled out, right, because he was stuck there, so he didn't gain any time on the leaders over the last 2 laps.
And Amy's also mindful of the fact that the man behind her is David Pintarek in the 57, the All-American flag, heading towards the 4th of July, but that's who she's fighting with in the championship. Let's take a look at this action again.
Yeah, this is
that needle thread I was talking about.
This is brilliant right here. I mean, absolutely. Wow. You talk about brave, and I mean that's Amy Rumen to a T. She is brave.
Boy, that could have ended in tears, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could have, but it didn't because it's a lot of talent out there, and they all did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Yeah,
brilliant stuff.
I hope our F4 and FR boys were watching that because that is racecraft right there.
For sure it is, and that's what Trans Am produces is some of the best racers on the planet because you have to fight. You have to fight for every position out here. Nothing is handed to you, and we're on board here with Justin Marks again going through turn 11 as he approaches the three-dimensional services group carousel. Keeps a nice, pretty line through there, tucks up onto the curb and back down here onto the front straightaway.
Well, he's got Will Rogers in front of him in 4th position, so Justin Marks now up to 5th. There's the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on the racetrack. As you see, Boris said, in the all-day-glow yellow coming towards you in the Challenger. There's the battle. Justin Marks now making his way through, and he's already got past another car. Now he goes in pursuit of Will Rogers.
Yeah, I tell you what he's seeing, though. He's seeing the yellow car for position.
Yeah.
And I tell you, that's his rabbit. You know, you have Justin Marks, and when you can see the car that you know is for position up there, you know, and I'm not talking overall position. I'm talking not only overall, but class position. Because Will Rogers, it is for an overall position, but that's not for class, right? Right now, Justin Marks is going to get 4th place points no matter what, if it were to stop here, not 5th place points. He's going to get 4th place points because that's where he's at in class. However, you got to get around that Will Rogers, which is going to be a battle because he's holding a really pretty wheel in that XGT car prepared by Chris Evans, and it's really going fast, and it's holding its own up there, and it's turning laps that are right there with the leaders of TA. I mean, Will Rogers just turned his fastest lap of the race at a 124.266. To put that in perspective, your fastest lap of the race by the car in front of him for position, Boris said, was a 123.5. So less than a second difference between those two cars.
On board with the leader, Chris Dyson, over 200 miles an hour almost, as he dives into the keyhole. And great stuff on board action from the V-Box Motorsport company, giving us all the action as we go back to the Ford Mustang in SGT on the number 32.
Yeah, Will Rogers.
Will Rogers in 4th position, remember.
He's showing a lot of will. He's getting it done. And that car is a beautifully prepared car. So it's really good to see the potential of the car being seen. We haven't, I don't think, seen quite the potential of that car, and Will Rogers is getting every inch out of it, which is a beautiful thing to see.
Talking of cars, different cars, or different chassis anyway, for Dyson and Brabham. So interested to see how that kind of plans out, how the lap times plan out, because both very, very fast indeed, but there must be some differences in those cars.
Well, Matthew, I could go and tell you, he went off and cracked the fastest lap of the race just to show how fast that Meissen car is.
Right.
He did a 121.997 on lap 8 while he was back there battling. So, you know, he definitely has the speed, and, you know, but this is the hardest place to pass. I cannot stress that enough. We have seen it. We have seen it with Justin Marks, you know, with Amy Ruman, who obviously had pace on Amy Ruman as he's opened that gap pretty steadily since he got around. But it took him 2 laps to get around. And that's what I'm talking about here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Matthew Brabham is going to throw everything he can at Chris Dyson as we look at Wally Dallenbach Jr.
Here's your TAH, your historic TA car leader, Wally Dallenbach in the Ultimate Headers number 4.
It's such a beautiful car. I mean, that car just stands out.
It's really quite thin compared to the more modern cars.
It is, and you point out, you make a great point there, Jonathan Green. Where that car struggles is not enough air sticks to it.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't have the downforce of the other cars. So it goes down the straightaway like stink.
Right.
You know, it handles really well in a straight line. But when you need the support under braking and the cornering and lateral support, they've reached the limit of that car. And hats off to Wally and that Cobra Automotive group led by Steve over there. They have done a brilliant job to get everything they can out of that old Weaver chassis. And Pancho Weaver has a lot to be proud of too, because that's a 23-year-old chassis out here getting the business done.
I know. I took a close look at it the other day, and I'm amazed. It looks like a brand new car.
It's well taken care of. You know, Cobra Automotive Group, I can't say enough about them. They do the Class A work. I mean, if you are a Shelby fan, if you're ever looking for a Shelby, you're not going to find any better versions, and you're not going to find a better restoration group than Cobra Automotive out of Connecticut.
Okay, good to know. as we look high above this Mid-Ohio circuit. You're listening to Adam Andretti and Jonathan Green bringing you the action from Mid-Ohio. We're at the halfway point of the season, and this can be a very pivotal race. It proved so last year in TA2 for Thomas Merrill, and it's certainly proved over the years for the likes of Ernie Francis Jr., Chris Dyson, and yourself, Adam. I remember when you took the first run in a three-dimensional services car with Rafa here, and it really just opened up your season for you.
Yeah, it got me a job. You know, honestly, it got me a full-time gig with Peterson Racing and Three-Dimensional Services Group backing that deal, and it was a wonderful year and a half working with that group. It really, really was, and we've both moved on our own ways, and there's still some of my closest friends over there, and that friendship was spawned right here, you know, and honestly at Lime Rock, which is, you know, on our Memorial Day Classic. So it's, again, I can't say enough about this paddock. It's the place to be, whether you're a competitor or a race fan, truth be told. The Speed Tour weekends are my favorite place to be, because not only the people always make the difference, but you get to see some of the coolest cars from the history of our sport with the vintage racing side in SVRA, all the way through the modern technology of F4, FRA, and our Trans Am series. So it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be.
Now, there's the king of Vipers and the king of Florida Vipers, that's for sure. Lee Saunders, former SGT champion and leading here in SGT once again at Mid-Ohio. He refuses to drive any other car as far as I can gather. He just loves that Dodge Viper, the power of the V10, the big grunt it gives him. He just loves it.
Oh, and he's so much fun to be around. Lee is a treat. Lee is one of the true treats. I mean, you guys might get sick of me talking about this paddock, but I'm telling you, everything I'm telling you is the truth. And Lee is so much fun, again, to be around. He's lighthearted, always has a smile on his face, always has something fun to say. And he's one of our best entertainment points from that little broadcast we did from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, representing the GT class with Milton Grant, and Billy Griffin made a Showtime appearance as well. So, but yeah, one of my favorites in the paddock again, Lee Saunders here. He loves that Viper, as you said, and how could you not? All the torque that motor gives you. What us drivers, and I'm telling you right now, Justin Marks is closing that gap up on Boris Said. He is only 2 seconds behind Boris Said with 3 to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the battle coming home, is between these two wonderful champions in their own right.
Yep, just a couple of laps to go, and as you can see, Justin Marks reeling in. Boris Said, two fantastic names in racing here in the USA. Boris Said has raced in NASCAR. This man is about to do Xfinity around the streets of Chicago. Boris has done that. He's done truck racing. He's done all of them.
Both of these guys are turning their fastest laps of the race. And Justin Marks, the fastest lap of the race.
Wow.
A 121.444. Boris Said at a 123.2. But let me tell you, that's a big difference. If that's all Boris has out of that little Weaver Dodge, he might be a sitting duck for this track house Chevrolet Camaro right behind him, because I'm telling you, this is one hungry driver in Justin Marks, and he is seeing that red mist from his turn one off, and he is thinking what could have been.
And Boris has got traffic. He'll want to get past that and try to use it to give himself a buffer. And he's trying just that. He goes to one side, now to the outside. He's going to pass both of them. Oh, no, he can't. He gets a touch. They both go off, and Marks goes past. Big mistake from Boris Said, and he'll be absolutely fuming.
Yeah, that is the challenge, right, is the GT cars, and we saw it. You know, we talked about it, and they're in their own race.
He bit off too much there,
didn't he?
They're in
their own race, too. It's a tricky situation. No, you can't blame them. It's a really tricky situation, and I tell you what, that was a gift to Justin Marks. He was going to have to work for it, and, you know, it was almost like an Olay. Here you go.
Let's have a look at it, Adam. You describe it.
So, you get the move over flags. These two GT cars are racing each other. Boris once through, gives him the old chrome horn, but that cost Boris time. It cost him a little shake on the front end. And, you know, another thing, too, is avoidable contact has been like the phrase of the year for David Hoots up there. So, just wanted to say that it's one of them deals where it was a racing deal, but and I think even patience, if Boris shows a little more patience there, the only difference is it's a little bit longer for Justin Marks to get around him, because I think it would still open the door for Justin there. As we look at the onboard, the leader, the Jim Weed Ford Mustang of Chris Dyson as he comes into this three-dimensional services group carousel. And he's going to get the white flag with one more to go. We got Chris Dyson, Matt Brabham. Was Matt Brabham going to put it on his teammate, his boss, his car owner?
Let's find
Chris
out.
Dyson with the last lap, because all bets could be off, because you got Justin Marks catching these two. I mean, Justin Marks made up 23 seconds.
That's
after
amazing.
that spin.
You know, I'll tell you what, Andretti, I've been sat here since 2018 watching Trans Am, and as I learned the history, they told me the golden years were the pony wars of the late 60s and early 70s. That's when Trans Am were the glory days. I say, tut. Yes, great for that. Great for the history books. But right now, history's being made. I just saw Connor Zillage around the streets of Detroit go from last to first. I've just seen Justin Marks do something pretty darn similar here in Trans Am here at Mid-Ohio. It doesn't get any better than this.
You got to enjoy the days you're in, because these are always the good old days. You're
Right.
always going to look back at the time that you were in as the good old days. And you're right, Jonathan Green. We are living it. We're living it here, watching CD Racing even, put out some dominance out there like they've been doing. With 2 championships in a row. We had a 4-time champion with Ernie Francis Jr. before the changing of the guard came out, and Chris Dyson uprooted that back in 2021. So, we're looking here, Chris Dyson again, going to stretch out his point lead over his teammate Matthew Brown. The last time they're going to come through the three-dimensional services group.
Oh!
And it's a tight one with the GT cars taking the win. It's
Doesn't
Chris
get
Dyson.
any better than that. Dancing and prancing, slicing and dicing. Dyson wins. CD Racing does it again in style. Doesn't get any better. What a race. My thanks to Adam Andretti. That is Trans Am absolutely at its top draw from TA. And we've got more to come, because my mate Adam Andretti will be going for at least a podium. I'll hold him to it tomorrow in TA2, so don't go anywhere. Get on the live stream, watch MAV TV, it'll be gold.
We got Will Rogers at Dyson, and that's good camaraderie between Chris Dyson, and shows it with Justin Marks there. Justin Marks gets himself a podium finish there in P3, but let's not forget about our XGT, Will Rogers. We spoke a lot about him. P5 overall. And he was just 18 seconds off of the overall winner in an XGT car.
That is brilliant.
Brilliant work. And his nearest competitor was Danny Lowry in P2 there. Wally Dallenbach Jr., my pseudo teammate, taking it home for TA Historic. Lee Saunders, SGT.
Yeah, top 10.
I tell you, him in top 10 overall. And he went battle with Ricky Sanders all the way down to the end there to take Ricky Sanders in second. And then Chris Coffey. Bringing it home in the Maserati in the GT class with the GT victory. So great racing all the way through, and a huge thank you to our competitors and to our partners for today.
Yeah, but really for me, no question, outstanding running, but we expect CD Racing to go as well as they do. First and second, that's pretty much the story of the season. But Justin Marks, a wonderful recovery. He was off the track and done. But now he's third. He's on the podium. What a day at the races for him. Good luck in Chicago, mate. We'll be watching you.
So let's go ahead and put this in perspective. 27 seconds off the lead he was on the first lap when he came around after his off-course excursion in turn 1. He finished this race 2 seconds, just over 2 seconds. He made 25 seconds up from that point. So Justin Marks, you have a lot to go to bed and be proud about tonight. Don't hang your head on the one little thing that went wrong. Really boast your shoulders on all that went right and the great job that you did. But CD Racing, Chris Dyson shows why he's a 2-time champion. Matthew Brabham, I tell you, no one's got a better podium percentage in Trans Am history than Matthew Brabham. And I just love watching and being a part of this series. It is so much fun, Jonathan Green.
Yeah, no question about it. Be interested to see what Justin Marks says after that race, because he could be very proud of what was a brilliant race. And if you remember, right back to the start of this race, when Ben was chatting to Justin Marks, Boris said was all over his interview, shouting at him and giving him a hard time, trying to put him off. I mean, he won that battle.
It always comes down to who crosses the line first, and yeah, he definitely got the last laugh on that one. And so really good stuff there. And
Stevie Dix congratulates his team, man.
Absolutely. And Boris drove a brilliant race. I mean, it was. You could tell he was kind of hanging on to some maybe tire degradation there towards the end, and but he drove a brilliant race as he always did. And this guy's going to be super happy and super relieved to get this win. He's collecting it all. He's putting it all together. Chris Dyson come out, get your congratulations, buddy. You deserve it. What a brilliant drive.
Comes on the
Yeah,
podium
Chris Dyson and the Dyson Racing team.
Hey, so can we bring him up on the podium? Is it Grumby?
Yeah. And of course, based at Lime Rock, that's where it all began for Chris.
Wow, that's a sense of joy right there, and I can hear Matthew Brabham's fiance Kimberly there in the background and
whooping.
I'm gonna get the dog up there on the podium, and but yeah, it's
there he is. I see him.
Yep.
What's his name?
Grumpy.
Grumpy.
And it's an awesome family group here. I mean, Stevie Dick's here and the whole gang. Scotty right there in the background, ready to give the love. And this group works really super hard. Ernie Becker in the background from Trans Am there to congratulate a class act there.
Well, as the helmet comes off, let's head down to Ben Sissel to talk to our CD Racing winner, Chris Dyson.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Dyson got out of his car at the Jim Weed Victory Lane. And I think I see a little bit of an emotional Chris Dyson. You've got some grass on your face. That, sir, was a hard-fought win.
Man, that's Trans Am racing at its hardest right there. I'm just so happy the guys gave me a great car. We were pretty disconsolate after qualifying yesterday. I was praying for dry weather today, and we got it, and the car was just magical. It was really good. I had the medal of Boris and Justin in front of me, just biding my time, and I was able to get through in traffic and then defend on the restart, and I'm really excited with the win. Very upbeat. It's been a long couple of weeks, and I'm happy to bring in a win home for the boys.
Now, let's just talk about Trans Am here for a little bit. So we've got Dyson, Brabham, Boris Said, and Justin Marks in that top four battling it out. You can't get any better than that.
No, you're right, Ben. I mean, this is phenomenal. It's been such a great run for us here in Trans Am, and I just love the fact that the legends and the guys from NASCAR are making time in their schedule to come back and do this still. I think that we're honoring the tradition of the series, and I think we're having the same kind of battles that they were having 50 years ago when it started, and I'm just thrilled to be up there with some of the greats, and so grateful for the opportunity. Thank God.
And I know you're really good here at Mid-Ohio, but Justin Marks kind of considers this his track. A little bit of vengeance after what happened at Lime Rock?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, at the end of the day, Justin shows up. He's going to be tough every time, but I'd like to say the same about us.
Nice. Well, look at that. Chris Dyson here. Jim Weed at the Jim Weed Victory Lane. A 1-2. Let's come over here and talk to Matt Brabham as he's congratulating with his dog, Grumby, who will bring up on the winner's circle. So, Matt Brabham, nice job. How does that feel? Mid-Ohio, last year you won here. You got second place this year, and what a battle up there for the lead.
Oh, yeah, I had a perfect view for most of the race. Obviously, we starting in the back. I had to really use up all my tires to get to them, and then once I got there, I mean, they'll put on a show. I mean, they were side by side, blocking each other, going down the inside, and obviously the restart was pretty interesting there as well, but no, I just didn't have enough at the end there, but I had so much fun coming through the field and watching that amazing show. That was an awesome race.
Now, race cars are one thing, but you've got to introduce the public to your dog here. Can you pick up Grumby and show, look at this, ladies and gentlemen, the most famous dog in motorsports. Was that a good race, Grumby?
I think so, yeah. He's used to being up here on the podium, so he likes champagne. That's one of his favorite treats, so we'll have to give him some here in a second.
I hope he's 21 in dog years.
He is, yeah.
But congratulations, Jim Weed, 1-2 here. Gentlemen, I'm going to send it back to you.
Grumby gets some champagne. Meanwhile, Matt gets a kiss. Why not? And well done. Good day at the office. Well done to Matt Brabham. And another fantastic season as this kid, and I call him a kid.
Cool. Yeah, you can take my
scooter
if you want.
He's been around for a while now, but he's achieved so much. And it's never easy with a famous name. The man next to me knows that. Let's take a look at the highlights then from what was a TA Classic. Right at the start, no question about it, it was a really good start from Boris Said, but it wasn't for Tommy Dreesy. He had mechanical issues, lost the belt. Then through came Chris Dyson, a nice move. Marks almost thought about doing it, then got washed out, unfortunately, at the restart of one of the cautions and goes off. Marks then recovered, and that really was one of the great stories of the race. How about this? Threading the needle. A brilliant move by Amy Ruman as she fought with Marks. Marks eventually getting past he and Amy Ruman and David Pintarek. Justin Marks, though, doing a brilliant job to get onto the podium. But it was Chris. Dyson, all the way. So there we go. Chris Dyson with the Jim Weed Ford Mustang takes the win ahead of Matthew Brabham. Another 1-2 for CD Racing. Justin Marks third, Boris Said fourth, Will Rogers an excellent performance, an XGT winner as well as fifth overall. Amy Ruman, Pintaric, Dollenbach wins in Historics. Danny Lowry is ninth and is second in XGT. Lee Saunders wins in SGT and is top 10. Then it's Ricky Sanders, Chris Kofi in GT. He's the top man there. Carrie Grant, Billy Griffin, Milton Grant, Kerry Hitt. Jack Rinke unfortunately retired. Likewise, Attaway, Dreesy, and Evans. So that's how it finished. What a Ruman racing at home. The Cool Shirt Systems cool move of the race was that needle thread. How about this? Into the right-hander. Watch it again very closely. She had to think quick here because that was brilliant. She was under pressure. She chose to take it, and look how she pulled that off. Excellent stuff. Marks also with her, but that's the cool move of the race.
So first time I think they should have like a multiple cool move of the race because there were so many great ones. But, yeah, that one definitely gets my vote for sure. Great job, Amy, and congratulations for that cool move award.
So that's the TA highlights, but let's take a look at some of the highlights from the other classes, and including SGT and XGT. Away we went, and remember, they all start together, so it's always a little bit complicated at first for the midfield because they're battling not only with their own class, but also with some of the other classes, i.e. SGT, XGT, and GT. Sadly, for the turnkey team, it wasn't to be. Naparowski out, and likewise Rinke out as well. Milton Grant on fire as always with that little soldier on the side of the Porsche 55, and a little trouble for Boris Said as he came across the other classes. That led them to go off, but in the end it was a great victory for that man of the moment, Will Rogers. So in a moment we'll get the podium and celebrate with Grumby and the kids, as they say. So let's in a moment head down to Ben Sissel. I can see him pacing patiently.
It was just such a fun race to call. That was just absolutely brilliant, and just again a big thank you to Trans Am, to Pirelli Motorsport Holding for getting us here to Mid-Ohio year after year. This is a great venue. The fans, thank you so much to the fans, not only the ones that are here, but the ones that are tuning in and watching us, and will tune in to MAV TV on the coverage coming up, you know, when it comes onto your cable network. But we really thoroughly enjoy this and hope you enjoy it as much as
tell
we
your
do.
friends, if you were watching our coverage here today and you've got some friends that love racing, tell them Thursday nights is Trans Am night, quite literally on MAV TV. You can watch both the highlights of both races and also the documentary series.
Road to Glory.
There, Road to Glory.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. Talking of beautiful things, let's head down to the Jim Weed victory lane and the man who's growing weeds out of top of his head, Ben Sissel.
Well, now I need you guys to get loud for TV. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Get loud for the Jim Weed victory lane. Come on, let's hear it, Mid-Ohio. Nice. I love it. Look at this. The Amy Army's marching in. Come on down, Ruman Army. GT Masters, the number 91. Where is Michael Attaway? This guy keeps finishing races. Let's hear it. Michael Attaway, GT Masters. Come on up, Michael. Nice job. Top step. He says you got to be first to something. Hey, you just keep finishing races.
That's the name of the game. That's all about being there at the end of the game, end of the race.
I love it. Now, anybody you want to thank?
Thank Danny Lowry, Ricky Sanders, Sweet Cheeks again this week, Garrett, Jason. I would say all the guys back at the shop, but they're all up here. But that's NASCAR guys always say that, so I figured it'd sound good.
I love it. Yeah. All the 200 crew you've got working back at.
Back in the shop, yeah, absolutely.
Now, your cool shirt worked?
Absolutely. I didn't have to come in pit road for nothing today.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Attaway, GT man. Hold that up high. Proud. There we go. All right, Mid-Ohio, let's get loud. Masters GT, Michael Attaway. Attaway, Michael. Where is Jack? How do I say your last name?
Rinky?
All right. In third place, ladies and gentlemen, how cool is this from Turnkey Motorsports? Let's hear it. Jack Rinky. Come on, Mid-Ohio. Get loud. So we're going to ask him about his little adventure. He went to the beach today. Nice job. Jack Rinky, ladies and gentlemen, second place in GT. No, yeah, he's third. I'm bringing up second place in GT in a Ford Mustang. Let's hear it. Billy Griffin, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from South Florida. And then in first place, and we need to all make sure that he gives us a Ric Flair woo when he gets up here in that Maserati. Let's hear it. Chris Coffey. There it is. Wait, Chris, one time somewhat near the mic, but not on the mic. Woo! Nice, there it is. That's his patented Ric Flair Nature Boy. Rinky. Nice recovery. You had a little trip to the beach. Everybody that races Mid-Ohio ends up in the beach at some time, but you were able to pull it out, and, man, that car is beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. We've been working on the car for about a year now. We brought it to the track with maybe 3 laps of testing, so we're ecstatic with the third-place finish. But I do want to say, though, I missed my cousin's bachelor party for this race, so I wanted to wish them luck this weekend. Sam, Lexi, so happy for you guys, and we'll see you at the wedding.
Nice. See you at the wedding. I'm sure there's a story there. I love it. Jack Rinky, welcome. Billy Griffin, I was at Madness filming the first couple laps, and your car just didn't sound right. We hung out last night. I could tell you were disappointed. You were cleaning a lot of mud out. And then the last lap, I saw that your muffler was starting to, not your muffler, but your exhaust was starting to go a little bit. What was happening to you in the car?
I think the whole track was madness for me. I felt it was like bumper cars. Go, Renee. But it was rough out there.
We'll pause. He did give a little shout out to Renee Tursilla, who just drove by, which is one of his cars also. But we're going to pause for some beautiful American V8 music. You guys like that? It's pretty good. I like that 65 Vet right there. Little E46. So cool. Look at this. You got this American muscle, then a Lotus Elan, a Ford Fiesta. See, this is just fun. We might have the best seat in the house right here. But I'm going to try to get to you before they start because it's about to get loud. All right, what happened out there?
I fought hard to get the pole award yesterday and got out there and got hit in the tush a little bit and spun me around in the keyhole. And I had to fight to go almost a lap down and fought myself back up to second place. And it was a hard fight. Couldn't catch up to him at the end. And then I got hit again at the end trying to get out of the way, TA-its way. Milton came up from behind me. I didn't see him coming, and he gave me another kick in the butt. So I'm tired of getting kicked in the butt today, that's for sure. I want to thank my whole friends and family that took the last 10 days with us. Really beautiful trip. Nice, good memory for all of us. I get to see my family from Ohio that lives here, which is wonderful. We don't get to see them much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody. I had a lot of fun.
Nice. Billy Griffin. Hey, try not to kick him in the butt anymore, okay, guys? Chris Coffey. Love having you here in the Trans Am Series. You joined us at COTA for the first time, and now you're back on top.
Yeah, it was pretty chaos at the start. Unfortunately, I had to start dead last on the grid, so I had to work my way through the field, and the first lap was really interesting. But I got to thank Colin Cohen. Without him, there's no way I could be here. He is the best friend and sponsor I could ever ask for. And Jack, my truck driver / crew chief / everything I can't do. We're basically a two-man show. So it was a blast, and I hope to keep doing it.
Nice. Chris Coffey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure he'd like to thank Norwood Auto Italia and the crew there back at home. Yeah. Lift them up high. Come on, Mid-Ohio. Jack Rinky, Billy Griffin, Chris Coffey. Jack, that was a hard-fought third place. Nice job. That's a good comeback. We're going to pause for some beautiful music. All right, Mid-Ohio, try to get louder than that on track right now. One more time, Jack Rinke, Billy Griffin, Chris Coffey. I like this crowd, Mid-Ohio. Keep it up. Even you, Duke Waldrop. Uh-oh. Look out. They're asking what they're going to do here. Yeah, have at it, gentlemen. Oh, they're going for it. You don't have to ask my permission. Look at that. Nice job. Give it up for the GT class. That was fun. Mustang, Camaro, Maserati. Joe Walsh wants to know, Chris Coffey, does your Maserati go 185? Not quite. Not quite, he says. Anybody want a Sunoco hat? Ooh, it boomeranged right in front of Wally. He's not grabbing it. It's a little sticky, that hat. XGT, Extreme GT, in that beautiful Bridge Hall Bennett AMG Mercedes. Let's hear it. Danny Lowry, where is Danny Lowry? Come on, Mid-Ohio, get loud. Danny sponsors about half the field out there. And then this gentleman was, you're in second, so that's this one. A little tip, I learned this from Bill. You go 2-1-3, and then you got it. We're going to wait for this to pass. So we saw.
Completely, but do it after act.
Okay. Yeah, I will. So we met this person at Sonoma and WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, super fast in that XGT car. Get loud, Will Rogers. Come on up here, Will. Extreme GT. Nice job. So, Danny, that was a hard-fought battle out there. And when you know that you've got Boris said, Chris Dyson, Matt Brabham, Justin Marks coming up behind you, are you basically looking in the mirror more than the windshield?
Well, I know as far as I'm concerned, I just get out of their way. I know they've got a very competitive race going on, and I do not want to impact their race, so I just give them all the track I can.
Nice. Now tell us about your race.
Had a good race. Chris and I felt like we're going to have a really good race. Will he tore it up. Super talented young driver. He just drove off from us, and figured Chris and I would duke it out. And Chris broke, so I was able to slide in on my belly a little bit. And it's a good thing I could, because I started getting a little bit nauseous about 10 laps in the race. And I'll tell you, I was glad to crawl out of that car. But hey, I'd like to recognize my guys from Ace Duran. I'm running Ace Duran on the car. It's one of our companies. And Jim Collins and Beth Collins are here this weekend representing, so I'd like to recognize them. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Danny Lowry, Bridge Hall Bennett. Now, Will Rogers, you've been spending a lot of time with Nitro Motorsports and TA2, and I asked you where Detroit, when you're going to run XGT out here, and here you are, top step.
That's right, absolutely. There goes the field. I'll have like 30 seconds here to talk, but no, very grateful to Chris Evans and the entire Chris Evans Race Cars group, Jeff Jefferson, Jerry Pitts. Everybody on this team are incredible people, and they put a great race car together. This XGT car that they built it's a badass machine, and I just get to be the lucky guy to drive it. So thank you to them. Great race today. Obviously, kind of in a class of our own there, but still, I feel like ran really well. The equipment was really great, and can't wait to do it again.
Nice. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Lowry, Will Rogers, hold them up high. Keep it up, Mid-Ohio. I'm liking this crowd. It's very color coordinated. Lots of black shirts on this side.
I only have 10 minutes
left before parking. Okay. Come on, Danny Lowry, Will Rogers. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we go. Super GT is next. I went out of order. I apologize for that, but totally my fault. Oh, look at that. Nice job. Extreme GT, the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Thank you, Joe. Oh, Danny's wanting to throw a hat. Who wants a hat? Go grab it, man. Yeah, there we go. I like it. Super GT. Super GT Masters. We heard about him from, he's not here. Milton Grant is our Super GT Masters, but I think he took off. So, in third place, Milton Grant's son. Let's hear it, Cary Grant, ladies and gentlemen, from Memphis, Tennessee area. In second place, let's hear it in the number 18, Ricky Sanders. And first place, Super GT, Lee Saunders, Dodge Viper. Hey. Okay, silver and white. All right. Well, Cary Grant, you bested your dad again. He was the Masters, but you're up here on the podium. How's it feel?
It feels great. First of all, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Hi to my family at home. And thank you to Larry, my crew chief over there, for doing such a great job. Yeah, I don't know. I had him covered all weekend, so he never really pushed me at all. So it was a pretty uneventful race. I had some new brake pads I was trying to figure out in the first half. An alarm coming on in the second half. But I made it to the end, and it was fun.
Persevered, Cary Grant. Ricky Sanders, how many cars do you have in your back pocket? You were with us at a Corvette last weekend. Now you're with us in a Porsche. Tell us about your race.
The race was pretty good. We kind of started behind the 8-ball because I didn't go out in the rain yesterday. So I started in the rear, and I was able to catch the two Grants, but I had nothing left for the Viper and Lee. So he ran a really good race, and we just did the best we could with what we had.
Did the best we could with what we had. Let's hear Ricky Sanders. And now Lee Saunders, I'm going to come around from the back. Tell us about your race.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for giving us a beautiful day. It's and a fantastic free country we live in. It was a good race. We luckily had some cars between us, and because Ricky and Cary were both very fast, they just didn't have enough time to get us. I want to thank Kevin with KSR and Eddie with KSR, my two crew guys. They did a fantastic job getting us turned around for the quick 1 week turnaround, and just thank everybody, all the fans for coming out. Great seeing everybody here today, and really appreciate Trans Am bringing us here.
Nice. I love it. All right, let's hear it. Super GT. They're going to put on their Pirelli hats. Uh-oh. Oh, look at that. Good arm, Lee Saunders. Look at that. All right, come on, Mid-Ohio. Cary Grant, Ricky Sanders, Lee Saunders, Super GT. Let's see what we got. Look at that. Let me explain this, ladies and gentlemen. I think these three guys are driving home and don't want to get pulled over smelling of alcohol. Very smart. Thank you, Cary Grant, Ricky Sanders, Lee Saunders. I'm about to bring up a legend, a Trans Am legend, a former Trans Am champion. Ladies and gentlemen, racing a car that I think calls its home Medina, Ohio, or somewhere nearabouts. I saw him out here earlier. Is that where your car is housed, John Cloud? Is it Medina? Medina, Ohio, housed former Trans Am champion, the winner of Trans Am Heritage. Let's hear it. Wally Dallenbach Jr. Where is he? There he is. And then Ultimate Headers blue suit. Check it out. Wally back on top here with us at Trans Am. That's got to feel pretty good, and such a cool car that you're in.
It is. I've loved driving that car. This is the last race we're running that car, and so great. John and Debbie are amazing people to drive for. Steve and Tommy and TJ, they've been working on that car in Cobra. I love driving that car. Tony and I were trying to build something here with the Heritage class, and we didn't have any takers, so it's time to get real and play with these guys a little bit, hopefully at Watkins Glen.
Nice. Yeah, I heard a rumor you guys might be building a new TA car.
Yep. We're having a Meissen car built right now, and we're hoping to debut it at Watkins Glen, so we got our fingers crossed.
Nice. Who wants to see Wally Dallaback Jr. in the TA class, back in the TA class? How cool is that? All right. Anybody? You got to thank some people.
And Ultimate Headers. We got a big party over there. They're all here from John's company, so it's going to be fun tonight.
All right. That might have been an invite. They're having a big party over there. We'll just call it that, and Debbie can bounce you. Debbie Cloud would be a good bouncer. Is that fine, John? John says thumbs up. Debbie might bounce you, though. TA Masters. Where is another huge name in Trans Am history and probably Trans Am folklore? Where is Boris Said? The third, I believe. Your Boris Said the third, is that correct? Are you three? He says, yeah. Come on up here. Now, the Masters, but you also had the lead for a while. You really, going through madness, turn 4, you took the outside, but then you stayed next to Justin so that you had him at turn 5, and man, that was quite a show.
Yeah, me and Justin met a lot of close races over the years, so I had to give him a little bit of the door on the Ultimate Headers car, but I just want to thank John Cloud. He's celebrating 30 years of racing, and sponsored our car this weekend with Ultimate Headers, so we had a good car in the beginning. I was just a little hard on the rear tires and burned it down, but it was a lot of fun, Trans Am.
Nice. Hard on the tires, like Boris said usually. The only person out there, I think, right, with a standard 8 shifting pattern?
Yeah, I only have 4 gears. They have 5, but, they're young. They need more gears.
He said, wait, you're not excused yet. You got to put that on. He says they're young. They need more gears. How about that? Boris Said Masters TA. I believe 4th place overall. Look at that. And Boris, your son, is racing tomorrow? Boris Said the 4th tomorrow. You'll see him in the paddock because he's got the same fro.
I call him, is Boris Said Jr. legally, because I never knew the first two, and I thought because Dale Earnhardt Jr. sounded cooler. Yeah.
So Boris Said Jr., ladies and gentlemen. He's got the same fro, just less gray hair. I'll pay for that later. All right, TA, what a battle. Some huge names in TA today. It's an honor just to be up here saying these names. But here with Trackhouse, the number 99, there's his daughter who was riding bikes with him last night. Qualified first, really good here at Mid-Ohio. Give it up, Justin Marks, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Justin Marks comes up here drinking the competitor's product. I love it. The camaraderie here in the Trans Am paddock. In second place, ladies and gentlemen, he won the race at Indy last weekend. Second place here. He won here last year. Let's hear it. Matthew Brabham. Mid-Ohio, you got to get louder than that, unless you've got a phone or a camera in your hands. Come on now. And then Mid-Ohio, drum roll, let's get super loud. Winning here, the Jim Weed victory lane in the Jim Weed car, Chris Dyson, 2-time Trans Am champion. There we go. There's that Chris Coffee Ric Flair. I love it. Now, Justin Marks, you went to the inside on that restart and then got behind Chris. Maybe, was it dirty air or was it just too much? What happened there?
It's just a momentary lack of talent, I think. I mean, I got a good jump on the restart, and it's just one of my personal things I got to figure out is I just got super aggressive when the car wasn't ready for it, temps and pressure-wise. So I locked up the left front, went off the road, and was just super pissed at myself for the rest of the race. So I had to just drive as hard as I could. It was, I wasn't here on Thursday to test, so I hadn't driven in the dry since the race, and I was starting to kind of figure the line out, and I was happy to get back to third. So, just thanks to my guys. Good day.
Now, not to give team strategy, but, this happened kind of at NOLA. Maybe no matter where you qualify, maybe you just need to start in the back and race a little bit mad because you do so well. To be able to come through that field and get by Amy Ruman, which was probably the toughest battle you had out there, that had to be fun.
Well, no, because both those times I went to the back, I finished third, and there's only one spot I'm here to finish in. So it's a lot easier to try to start first and stay there. So, look, the guys worked really, really hard on this race car, and when I make a mistake and put us behind, I owe it to them to try as hard as I can. And just happy to get back to third. So, it's a good day. Congrats to all the CD Racing guys and these two. They drove a good race.
Perfect. Thank you, Justin Marks, ladies and gentlemen. We got to hurry because Group 6 is coming in, but Matt Brabham, great race out there.
Yeah, I mean, what a race. It was awesome to watch, especially from my point of view. I had the best seat in town, so obviously I had a bit of an issue in qualifying, so it was hard coming through the field. I burned up my tires a little bit, but then once I got to these guys, I mean, the racing was unbelievable. They were side by side, throwing it down the inside, and then obviously it was pretty interesting there on the restart. So, I mean, I had a great time racing with these guys. It was all clean, and big thank you to Chris Dyson. A Dyson 1-2 for these guys, and Jim Weed, it couldn't have ended any better. So super happy for Chris. It was impressive watching him from behind, and I had a great time out there myself, too.
Nice. Matthew Brabham. Now, Chris Dyson. Man, nice job up there. Tell us about your race.
Well, Ben, it was an absolute thrill racing with Justin, racing with Boris there, and obviously Matthew was coming up through. I think we put on a great show for everybody out there, and the 16 car was just amazing today. I mean, I was pretty disconsolate in qualifying, but I was really hoping it was going to be dry today because we were really good in the first test session. And good Lord willing, things worked out for us, and I'm honestly just so honored for the guys to come out here and have some success. We're putting together a nice championship campaign, and I'm really looking forward to going to Mid-Ohio with the Jim Weed cars and staying up front.
Nice. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Marks, Matthew Brabham, Chris Dyson here at the Jim Weed Victory Lane. That's got to feel good. All right, guys, throw out some hats here. Throw out some hats to some fans. Who wants these cool Power 80s Motul hats? Justin Marks got an arm on him. Uh-oh, look at that. Out of the park. Justin Marks just throws it out of the park. Look at that. All right, one more time with the trophies, guys. Come on, Mid-Ohio, get loud. Justin Marks, Matthew Brabham, Chris Dyson here at the Jim Weed Victory Lane. All right. We're going to do the MCO. So the MCO top... Oh, wait, champagne. Chris, I'm going to stay way back. What are you going to do, gentlemen? Uh-oh. What do we got? Oh, I guess they're just drinking the champagne. Go for it, guys. There we go. Oh, look at that. Right in Dyson's eye. Dyson pours one out for the homies. I love it. Oh, right in his eye. Thought you guys were teammates. Justin, nice job out there. Oh, you just get him out. You got half full, dude. All right. Our MCO Top Gear Award winner. Yeah, you're good. Chris Dyson, ladies and gentlemen, $500 for some new MCO gears. Come on, Mid-Ohio, get loud. Your girl's coming up next, don't worry. Hold that up there. One for the car. He says, that one's mine. That's going in the trophy case. All right, Chris Dyson, our MCO Top Gear Award winner. Check that out. All right, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Grant. Amy Army. Get loud. Our cool shirt, cool move of the race goes to one of our fan favorites. And man, did she make that red Corvette wide when Justin Marks was behind her. Let's hear it. Amy Ruman from the Buckeye State. I got to get a comment, Amy. This has got to feel good.
Yeah, I mean, after a tough weekend yesterday with the rain and all, we were happy the sun was shining. I got to thank McNichols, of course, and Valley Automotive Group for coming on board this weekend, and everybody for coming out to support us. It's a big deal for us here at Mid-Ohio, so we were just glad we got a a good race in today and a great battle with David. Battle of Ohio continued, and today I prevailed finally.
Nice. The Battle of Ohio. She got him at Thunder Valley. Wait, Amy, hold on. Stand up. We got. Let's hear it. Amy Ruhlman. Come on, Amy Army. There we go. All right, we're good. John, Mr. Claggett, we good? All right. Okay, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for here. The Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli at Mid-Ohio for the TA XGT. But we do have TA2 coming up tomorrow. And right now we're about to bring up our Detroit podium here with TA2 and then Group 6. So come on up here, Barry, I believe. Connor Zilich. Sorry, we can do a Brumby, we can do a family photo after this. All right, come on. Yes, there we go. Chris Clark, are you ready for this? Do they have, wait, I think, do they need trophies and hats? Okay. Hold on, gentlemen, we're getting some hats, I think.
Desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim, to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
If your tooling isn't quite ready, and you need parts, and you need more parts than just a few, or if your run is just not that big, look to the experts in low-volume production, Three-Dimensional Services. Whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 parts, we can meet your needs. And if it's 10,000, we can do that too. Three-Dimensional Services delivers high-quality parts for short runs, 70% faster than industry standards. Three-Dimensional Services. Prototype, production, proven.
We're at a commercial break.